Welcome back to the final edition of Adidas Friday Night Football, and we're all invited to Chris's afterwards for a wrap party.
Yes.
Everybody can come along. All right, the BC Lions have unpacked, their luggage is in the basement, they don't want to leave home again, and they have a chance to do it. If they win tonight, it's all in BC from here on in. What's the game plan, Matt?
Well, you got to get the ball in Robert Drummond's hands. You simply have to let him touch the rock 20-plus times. When that happens, it frees everybody else up, and then from that point on, everybody has a good game. What they've done is they've simplified their game plan. They're going out there, going to try to execute a play and a package that simply puts them in the best positions. They're not running a lot of different things. They're going to narrow their package, Chris, and get after it tonight.
Makes sense to me. And with the Saskatchewan Roughriders, I think it's Steve Sarkisian. You know, there is a true deficit in quality quarterbacks at all levels of professional football. And I really believe the teams that have played the inexperienced quarterbacks that have gone through that mistake process, well, they're going to benefit next year. And I think Sarkisian is a bright, intelligent young man. I'm looking for him to make the right decisions and to improve tonight, James.
And the Saskatchewan Roughriders need something, desperately something to carry them into the offseason and have something positive as we head towards next year. As for the Lions, Damon and Allen and company, one win away from the Western Final. They'll shoot for it when we return.
Well, it's cold and wet outside in Vancouver, but it's nice and comfortable inside BC Place Stadium. The blackout has been lifted here in the Vancouver area, so we truly are coast to coast. A big hello to football fans. The BC Lions here at home are trying to lock up a division title for the first time since 1987.
And Saskatchewan, quite simply, are playing for a chance to play again in the Canadian Football League. They will be evaluated on this game.
Greg Mons knows he has the better team. We all know he has the better team on paper, but he's been stressing to his team all week, do not take this Riders team lightly. Let's play our game, take care of our business.
Week 11 of the Canadian Football League season, we were saying Cal Murphy is looking for his 100th win. He still is. He could get it here tonight.
Yeah, Cal Murphy, 8 losses in a row. This is the longest losing streak he's ever been associated with. And he was not happy yesterday getting ready for this game. He fully expected his team to come on out and play. He's not concerned so much as the 100th win is concerned. He just wants to get a win for his team.
Well, Greg Mons, on the other hand, this is a very important game, because if he can get that bye, rest up some of the guys that are nicked, and only have to play one game to get to the show, that's the way he'd like to write it up.
Oh, they'd love to stay here. And Brett Anderson is set to kick this one off. Ricky Whittle and Curtis Mayfield are back to receive the kickoff, and we're playing football on Adidas Friday Night Football. Mayfield takes it at his 25, looking for the outside. Curtis Mayfield gets a little bit of room, gets up to the 45-yard line. Return of 19 yards right off the bat, and Steve Sarkisian comes into the ball game, making his 9th start for the Riders this season. There was a flag on that return. Reggie Slack did not even make the trip.
Illegal block. Saskatchewan 27. First down.
So that'll push him back a little bit. Reggie Slack's got a jam neck, did not make the trip, so it's Sarkisian and John Rayborn on the depth chart tonight, but Sarkisian would like to take this one the whole way and put a W on the board.
Yeah, and make no mistake, Cal Murphy will stick with Steve Sarkisian throughout this game, because it's important for him and it's important for this team to win, even though they're out of the playoffs.
Riders started up from their own 22. Sarkisian swings it out to Mayfield right away, and he is tackled. A look at the offensive weapons tonight for the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Watch for number 83, Reggie Jones, who has quickly become their go-to man in Saskatchewan. And along the offensive line, number 51, John Terry, is their nominee for Lineman of the Year. Loss of 1 on that play, so it'll be 2nd and 11 now. The Riders desperate, looking for a good start. Sarkisian feeling some pressure, and down he goes. Noah Cantor steps up and drops him right away.
Noah Cantor's in the rotation of that defensive front four with David Benefield, the outstanding defensive player nominee, and Paul Lacoste in the middle, who was their nominee as the outstanding rookie. Raphael Robinson also having a great season in the secondary. Raphael Ball will start again on the corner.
Only the Calgary Stampeders have given up more sacks than the Saskatchewan Roughriders, so not the start they were looking for. McCallum will have to punt it away from his own end zone, with the top return man in the CFL digging in at midfield. And it's a good punt. Here's Jimmy the Jet. And he is wrapped up just across the 50-yard line, and that's where David Allen will start. As we mentioned in the pregame show, he is the Lions nominee for their most outstanding player.
And should be. Close to 4,000 yards passing on the season, and more importantly to Greg Mons is that he has his team out to a 12-6 record. And the quarterback takes maybe too much credit when you win and too much blame when you lose. But when you're quarterback and you've started every single game and you've won 12 of them, you should be the outstanding player.
He seems pretty loose over on those sidelines as well. He seemed fairly loose yesterday getting ready for this game. Here's the offense that he will send out against the Riders. It's a familiar one. Mark Knorr at the fullback position, but look for Juan Johnson to get into that backfield as well. And along the offensive line, it's a good line, and Jamie Terrace not only nominated for the outstanding lineman, but also outstanding Canadian.
Joe Paopao all year, the offensive coordinator, has had an enviable task of trying to figure out how to get all his superstars to football, because there's only one football. And when you have guys like Don Blair and Eddie Brown and Robert Drummond and Juan Johnson and all that, you got to find a way to get all of them involved in the offense.
Now, a situation like this, the BC Lions are just trying to get through this game without getting anybody hurt, and this is not a good sight for them as Bo Lewis is being helped off. He was hurt on that last return by Jimmy the Jet.
You see him right over here. That's Bo Lewis right there. He goes down. He gets a little bit of a clip on the side of that left knee.
From the Saskatchewan 48-yard line. First down, Lions. Allen goes right to the air, and that was over the head of Rod Harris. Todd McMillan was lurking.
Young defense led up front by Connolly, who has played well throughout this season, and Arkell Trueluck and Willie Pless, of course. We'll talk a lot about Willie Pless throughout this evening. And on the corner, Todd McMillan has been the most consistent defensive back for Saskatchewan this year.
The 26-year-old in his third season in Saskatchewan. 2nd and 10 now. Allen out of the shotgun. Everybody out of the backfield, and there's the pressure. Ball is loose, but quickly recovered by Corey Mantika.
Talk about guys getting up for a game when you're out of the playoffs. And I was talking to a lot of the Saskatchewan Roughriders before this game, and one of them was Arkell Trueluck. And I just kept looking at Arkell Trueluck in the eyes, and there was no quit in Arkell Trueluck. Vincent Donaldson comes off the corner. He's the one who gets the hit. He's the extra DB in the package, and he's a veteran. He knows how important this game is if you want to have a good offseason. But Arkell Trueluck was fired up for some reason, more than I've seen throughout this whole season.
Here's Mayfield. No return on that play, so the Saskatchewan Roughriders hold. And we've got no score. We're very early. Sarkisian set to take the field on Adidas Friday Night Football. Welcome back to BC Place. Greg Mons says there is pressure involved in this football game, and he says that's a good thing. You don't want to be playing for nothing.
No, and they're playing for a whole bunch, and that's first place and the bye. And that bye means you can rest for the week, and you only play one game to get to the final. And that is what Greg Mons wants, and that's why he wants these guys fired up for this one.
Well, we can't get fired up yet.
You know, but one of the concerns is, too, when you're looking at a team that's out of the playoffs, maybe have their cars packed back in Regina, you're concerned that your guys aren't going to come out with the same intensity. And when you don't come out with intensity as a football player, that's when you get hurt. And of course, he doesn't want to have any injuries heading into the playoffs.
Riders back at their own 22, where they started their last drive and didn't go anywhere. There's the handoff to Ricky Whittle. He falls before he can get going. And Ricky Whittle in case you're wondering, you'll be seeing a lot of him tonight running the ball because Mike Saunders is at home in Regina with a foot injury, and that's really too bad. It's good for Ricky, but it's too bad for the Riders and Mike Saunders, who was very close to a 1,000-yard season.
They like Ricky Whittle. They say he's got good explosion at the hole. He's a tough guy, and he likes to learn. He's coachable. That's the word they use. Guy who's coachable is that he's always in the meetings early and trying to pick up the game as quickly as possible.
Loss of 2 on the play. Sarkisian. Lots of heat. Herman Smith's after him, and he threw the ball away, and Reggie Jones came back to it. Good speed by Jones to get back to that pass, but it's nowhere near a first down, so Cal sees his team go 2 and out again.
And Cal Murphy needs to get his team out early, because if the Saskatchewan Roughriders get behind, that's when the mind starts to wander. If you're out of the playoffs and this is your last game of the season and you know it, the intensity's there to start the game, no question about it. But if you get into a big deficit, you start to wander and think about the offseason.
Paul McCallum's first punt was a good one. Jimmy the Jet lining up where he's going to go, and he's been dangerous. In fact, he's taken one back against Saskatchewan earlier this year. Flags are down. Another good punt by McCallum. The Jet from his own 40 doesn't get much further. Ball is loose. And Saskatchewan has it. Randy Swarczynski fell on the ball, and Saskatchewan will have possession when we come back. A break for the green and white. Back in a moment. There's Randy Swarczynski, the former Regina Ram. He's still got that ball in his hands, Glenn. He's not going to let go of that thing. Here's what happened.
He's not going to let go of it. Jimmy the Jet did let go of it. He got to the outside, and Mike Moore was right there, but he didn't knock that football out of there. The Jet just wasn't concentrating on the football. He didn't hang on to the football. It came out on its own. Swarczynski knocks it out of bounds, so it's Saskatchewan football and the first big break of the game.
And it should be no surprise to Cal Murphy or Rider fans that Mike Moore was in on that play. He leads the team in special teams tackles, and he made that play happen right there. Sarkisian from the Lions 43. Let's see what they can do with this turn of events. Little pump fake. Over the top, and it's picked off. No, it wasn't. It went right through his hands. Boy, I thought Scott Thomas had it, Glenn.
Well, Scott Thomas got a perfect beat on the ball. You know what he did when Steve Sarkisian pump faked the football? Watch when he pump fakes, okay? Scott Thomas is on his way on the punt fake. See, there he goes. Number 25 comes right across, reads the quarterback's throwing motion, and is right there. All he has to do is finish and catch the football.
Thomas had it. The stinger almost stung them. Second down. Sarkisian, another pump fake. He's going to throw again. He's got Chris Sarka out of the backfield. A penalty had set them back. There's nowhere near a first down there on that play.
Saskatchewan to win this football game, I think they're going to have to do these 3 things. First of all, get Mayfield the football. 11 touchdowns, leads the league. And when you have Mike Saunders out of the lineup and Eric Gulliford, you don't have as many bullets in your gun. You have to stop the run. Millington had a huge game against the Riders last week, 225 yards, which was an Edmonton record, and a little Rider pride, man. 1-16 on the road in the last 2 years. It's time to stand up and be counted if you're a Saskatchewan Roughrider.
Well, they were unable to capitalize on a huge turnover there. And McCallum punts it away again. The Vancouver boy kicking it to Jimmy the Jet inside his 5. Cunningham not getting much room, but he hung on to it this time. A 42-yard punt, a return of 5. Greg Mons does not like the start his team's had so far. Here are the keys for his team's victory, Glenn.
Well, I think offensively they have to have a balanced attack. If Damon Allen can find a way to distribute the football to all his talented receivers, they're going to have a chance. Pressure with 4. You don't have to blitz Saskatchewan because on paper this is a better team in BC than Saskatchewan has. So play zone defense and pressure with 4. And I think if they score first, they will beat the Riders. The Riders have not won a game this year when the opposing team has scored first. Greg Mons knows that their minds will wander if they get up on them early.
1st and 10, the Lions are backed up pretty good in their own end. Little shovel pass to Robert Drummond, and he gets a little room and a first down to boot. Robert Drummond comes into this game second in the CFL in rushing. It's been a fantastic season for him, and it's a great battle going into the last week for second place with he and Kelvin Anderson. They're not going to catch Mike Pringle unless somebody has an enormous night.
Well, you know what? Coming into this season, Robert Drummond had something to prove to himself. And the one thing, and I think that was most important to him, was to prove to himself that he could go the whole year. And he's done that. And he's not only done it, but he's put up 1,200 rushing yards in the process. So not only has he proved to himself that he can stay in this football game the whole season, because he had injury problems last year, but he also did it in a big way with the 1,200 yards. So mission accomplished for Robert Drummond.
And finally, somebody has moved the chains in this ball game. We have our first down from either side. From the Lions' 19-yard line, Allen hands off to Drummond again, who goes into a crowd, picks up a few more. He's got 4 100-yard rushing games this season. His last one was about 2 weeks ago, week 15 against the Edmonton Eskimos. He only has one in the last 2.5 months, though.
Well, he better get in his mind right now that he may see the football a ton in this game. If Joe Paopao has his way in this game, Robert Drummond will touch the ball every play. Because if he can run the ball and beat Saskatchewan and keep Damon Allen healthy, that would be his desire.
Allen on 2nd and 7, can't get away from the pressure. Neil Smith is in there, as well as number 93, Michael Lawson.
Michael Lawson back in the lineup in the middle. He replaced Rich Young, which is a little smaller in the middle. So Michael Lawson is what they need for a little more size. And really, this is still an evaluation process for the Saskatchewan Roughriders. They want to see who's coming to play in a game that doesn't matter in the standings. And Michael Lawson gets in there and puts a pretty good hit on Damon Allen. I talked about Joe Paopao not wanting to see too much of that in this game.
The Riders D doing their job. They have come to play here in week 18. There's Mayfield taking the punt. Just over the midfield stripe. So we still have no score at BC Place between the Lions and the Riders on Adidas Friday Night Football.
Adidas Friday Night Football is brought to you by Adidas. Long live sport. Castrol GTX. Drive hard. And by Molson Canadian.
Steve Sarkisian on 1st and 10 from the 54 of the BC Lions. Handoff goes to Ricky Whittle. Steve Sarkisian, you talk about guys playing for a job. Obviously, he's already got one, but there are going to be major changes in the offseason with the Riders, and who knows about Reggie Slack's future. Maybe Sarkisian wants to make a claim to that starting job right here and now.
No question. He's going to be evaluated in the offseason by whomever the coach is next year, whether it be Cal Murphy or someone new, and that's still up in the air. But Sarkisian knows that he is under the microscope right now, and especially in this game.
Gain of 5 on that last play. There's some heat. Sarkisian gets away from the first tackler. Then the ball is loose. But they've got it back. A wave of pressure came in on him before James Monroe finally landed on that football. There are flags on the play as well.
Offside. Saskatchewan 89. Penalties declined. 3rd down.
Curtis Mayfield jumped. And the Riders are heading towards the sidelines again. Their defense is doing the job so far, Glenn, but the offense is sputtering a bit.
Well, they've changed up on the offensive line. See Jeremy O'Day here. Now, he's going to make a mistake and slide to the inside and watch Scott come off the edge. I mean, this is just a mistake in the assignment. See how he slides off the inside and Scott is just free. Johnny Scott, you let him come free and there's going to be some problems back there.
Big problems. That was almost a big problem. But instead, McCallum gets to angle one towards the sidelines, and out it goes near the 30-yard line. So the BC Lions got to try and get something going. Damon Allen. We talked in the pregame show about how the passing yards just have not been there to the liking of many who look at all the weapons that he has to go to.
Yeah, but you know what? I don't understand that a lot. And I've heard the criticism in the media here in Vancouver. When you get 4,000 yards passing and you win 12 games, I mean, what do you want? You know what I'm saying? You can't have a better year. Now, Damon Allen in his best year had about 4,600 yards passing. And that year, the team was in 97, finished last in the Western Division. What do you want, first or last?
They're looking for first tonight. Allen swings it out. He's got Mark Nora out of the backfield for a nice little game. But you're right. You know, Greg Mons has a radio show once a week, and he fields calls, win or lose. He fields calls about David Allen. And most of them are not friendly calls. And he defends them to the end. And he can't understand it either.
And so he should. And, you know, and I had a great conversation yesterday with Damon Allen and talked about the people, how they look at him, and sometimes by his demeanor say that he's not into the game or he doesn't care. I'll guarantee you one thing. This future Hall of Famer cares. He is the most competitive football player out there. And he has grown up and watched quarterbacks, and the quarterbacks that he's watched as a kid always had that very even keel, that very calm demeanor, and that's what he patterned himself after.
Gain of 9 on that last play. The give goes to Drummond, and Drummond goes straight up the middle for the first down. Robert Drummond, that was an easy call to make right there on 2nd and 1.
And Robert Drummond, when you talk about guys that are a little nicked and how important that bye is, Robert Drummond has played most of the year a little bit nicked. I mean, not like last year. That ball almost came out of there.
That was close.
He hung on to it, but, you know, he's been playing hurt as well. You know, and that bye week is big for a guy like that.
First down from their own 44-yard line. He's going to go to the air. Little swing pass. It's Drummond again. Picking up a few more.
Well, you know, it's going to be interesting because Robert Drummond in this offense is going to be involved. They're going to run it to him as much as they can, swing it out to him, play safely because they feel like their athletes are going to beat Saskatchewan's athletes. On the other hand, Saskatchewan really has to pull out all the stops, especially when they have the football. Reverses, hitch and goes, flea flickers, whatever it is, you got to pull it out to try and win this football game. That's what you have to do if you're in Saskatchewan's huddle. Take chances on defense. Go for that football. Make something happen.
It's exactly what Greg Mons was concerned about coming into this game. Trick plays, 2nd and 6. That's no trick. That ball is loose as Allen was dropped. Saskatchewan has it. There are flags and whistles everywhere.
Well, Damon Allen's taken 3 big hits in this game already. And we talked about gambling if you're in Saskatchewan. And guess what?
BC number 60. Penalties decline. First down.
Gambling if you're in Saskatchewan, yeah, absolutely, and that's exactly what they do. They gamble with the halfback blitz. They're going to bring the blitz off the edge. Jamie Terrace is right in the middle, the center. He gets a little holding on Colin Scrivener in the middle. Willie Pless he's working on as well. You see Shannon Garrett from the halfback position coming untouched off the edge. Steve Harden can't get there. Curtis Gallick has to slide over. It's a big gamble because Gallick not used to covering one-on-one. He's got to slide over and take the slot back because Shannon Garrett's coming off the edge. But if you're in Saskatchewan, like we just said, hey, why not gamble?
And another turnover goes to the Riders. That handoff goes to Ricky Whittle, who just gets back to the line of scrimmage. Now the offense has to capitalize here. They got 1 on special teams. Now their defense forces 1. Shannon Garrett with his 2nd sack of the season. Now, in fairness, we should point out, and we've talked about it a bit, the offense is missing some key weapons in Reggie Slack and Mike Saunders and Eric Gulliford and the fullback Sean Daniels. So they aren't dealing with a full deck in terms of their best offensive weapons. Loss of 1 on that play. 2nd and 11 from the 46. Sarkeesian in a passing situation. There's the flag. Johnny Scott throws him down.
You know what, though, Dave, and I agree with you 100% when you talk about Mike Saunders and Eric Gulliford and some of the guys they don't have. But Steve Sarkeesian...
Holding. Saskatchewan 67. Penalties decline. 3rd down.
Steve Sarkeesian may not have as much power in his gun right now, but he's not shooting blanks. These are professional football players, and these guys are here to be evaluated and make something happen, to make some big plays, including Steve Sarkeesian. So, I mean, that's why you have a guy on the practice roster. So when you have a guy go down, like Mike Saunders, the next guy steps in, he's got to come up and show what he can do.
So the offense fails to move the ball again, and they're punting it away again. Jimmy the Jet at his own 10. And there's been no daylight for him so far. A 47-yarder, a 2-yard return. No score in Vancouver on Adidas Friday Night Football. So now it's the Lions' turn again to try to make something happen. There's Rocky Henry. Couldn't get loose from his tackler, Douglas Kraft. Rocky Henry, boy, what a story this guy's been. He comes in to this ball game with 14 receptions. He now has 15. 5 of those receptions have been for touchdowns.
Yeah, he scored a touchdown in every game except one he's been in. And that's what Greg Mons likes about him. And when you talked to Greg Mons yesterday about Rocky Henry, he said he's staying in the lineup, at least for now. Because you know what? He's got the combination that he thinks may be successful in the playoffs. Some veterans and one rookie. And sometimes that rookie brings that enthusiasm to the huddle.
And he certainly does that. That was a gain of 3, 2nd and 7. Allen puts it up again over the head of Rod Harris. And this is not the start the BC Lions were looking for in this big ball game. And they're hearing about it right now.
Well, the one thing that they want to be careful against is being too conservative offensively. And we talked about the desire to run the football, but give credit to the Saskatchewan defense. And the one thing that Joe Paopao told me, he said, you know what? They haven't had a good season. They've struggled and they've been frustrated, but they hustle. And he's seen that on film. They see how hard they play.
Louis gets a good punt away. It's Mayfield again, going straight up the middle across midfield. And again, now it's Saskatchewan's turn. They're going back and forth, but they're not really sustaining any type of momentum. And of course, whenever the Riders are playing, the streak is always up in the air. Don Narcisse looking for his 216th consecutive game with at least 1 reception.
We talked about that streak a lot this year, and against Montreal, he waited until the 4th quarter, and it was a little 3-yard sort of underhand pass, and had a little fun with that. But Don Narcisse, boy, he is going to the Hall of Fame at some point. Don Narcisse, 8,000-yard seasons.
This time Sarkisian hands it off to Whittle. Ricky Whittle looking for some holes, but he has not been able to bust one yet. Don Narcisse in his 13th year, all with Saskatchewan, 34 years old.
And wants to continue to play, you know, and then there's a lot of people in Saskatchewan and the media there that are saying that Don Narcisse is too old to play, but 12,000 yards, 13 seasons, and like you mentioned, trying to get 216th consecutive catch. He feels like he still has some years in him.
Gain of 2 on that last play. 2nd and 8. Sarkisian going long, and that one's picked off, and Scott Thomas has got this one. Flags on the play. Thomas across midfield. He dropped one earlier, but he didn't drop that one. The rookie from Azusa Pacific. We'll see what the flags are about.
It was in the defensive backfield.
It was.
And Steve Sarkisian is saying it was interference. It wasn't on Thomas, though. Scott Thomas played the football. I think it was on whoever was covering at the time. I believe it was Dale Joseph.
Eligible receiver. BC 58. First down.
If I stand correct, it was Paul Lacoste. And the illegal contact happens and can happen anywhere on the field, and happened before that football was delivered.
Well, there was certainly nobody near, no receiver near Scott Thomas. He made a nice catch on the play.
Yeah, right in the middle of your screen there. Dan Farthing kind of got hit, but it wasn't Paul Lacoste. It was Dale Joseph.
Regardless, the Riders finally have a first down to talk about. And they're at the Lions' 43-yard line. Sarkisian bounces one to Narcisse. The long side of the field, the pass wasn't long enough.
It's a long throw, and you got to throw it on time. And Steve Sarkisian started to learn how. See how he looked to the right first and then went back to the left. Well, on a long field out, you really can't mess around. You do want to look off when you're going down the middle, but when you're throwing that out, you got to get it out there in a hurry. Because Sarkisian waited so long, he didn't have enough arm strength to get it there.
And it's 2nd and 10. Here comes the heat. There's Lacoste. Sarkisian gets away, but the pass is too high. Good pressure by Paul Lacoste. And he could not make the pass with number 58 in his face. So the Riders head to the sidelines again.
The BC Lions nominee for outstanding rookie and probably the front runner to win it. And Paul Lacoste coming on the blitz, had the break down. Sarkisian kind of sidestepped him, but it did flush him into where all his friends were. You know, and the reason I say that Paul Lacoste is probably a front runner is because when you look at the position he plays, there's a great degree of difficulty there. That's the middle linebacker.
Here's McCallum's punt on what will be the final play of the first quarter. Out of bounds it goes. So while it hasn't exactly been pretty, I think the Saskatchewan Roughriders will take it. Sure, they haven't scored, but neither of the Lions. No score here at BC Place on Adidas Friday Night Football. Let's take you back to CFL control, guys.
You're watching Adidas Friday Night Football, and we're at the quarter. Brought to you by Toyota Canada and its dealers.
A famous prophet once said the most dangerous team in football is a team with nothing to lose. Actually, that was Chris Schultz, but famous enough. And at least defensively, the Riders playing with reckless abandon so far. Problem is their offense is absolutely awful, and they cannot take advantage of the opportunities. But really, Chris, this was ugly on both sides of the ball.
That's exactly what I was going to say. Sloppy football game for both teams, but in particular the BC Lions. 7-2 on the road, only 5-3 at home. That's unusual. But look at the level of self-destruction early in the game. Example one, bad throw. Damon Allen could have been picked off. Well, I guess you can correct that, but look at this. They do not pick up the blitz. Damon Allen gets hit, fumbles the football. They were lucky to get it back. This is example number 3, and here we go again. Jimmy the Jet Cunningham, protect the football. I know you're trying to make a move. Off to the sidelines, ball comes out, Saskatchewan Roughriders field position. I am surprised that the BC Lions cannot play at a higher efficient level when they have first place on the line, Matt.
That's right. They're coming out playing flat, and it's not a good sign the way they've played the last 4 weeks, and then to see this here tonight. But then on the other side of the ball, this is why Saskatchewan is 3-14. They're playing with some emotion, which is positive, but they can't capitalize and turn those turnovers into points. And this is, so far, it's a tough game to call. BC's got to pick it up if they want to be where they want to be at the end of the season. And then Saskatchewan, boy, they've just got to find an offense in there.
And you know it's only a quarter now, but if they get to the half of the third quarter, the nerves will start to tighten up perhaps a little bit for the Lions. And in their hotel rooms in Hamilton right now, the Calgary Stampeders are going, this could get a little bit interesting. Send you back to Vancouver.
You bet they are. In 1991, Greg Mons was the director of player personnel for the Hamilton Tiger Cats. They came into BC Place in Week 18 with a 2-15 record. They beat the BC Lions that night, 26-17. They knocked the Lions from potentially finishing in first place in the West. They dropped all the way down to third. The Lions had to go on the road in the playoffs and the semifinals and play in Calgary, and they lost to Danny Barrett.
Guess who was the quarterback for the BC Lions at that time? Doug Flutie.
Yeah. So, you know, what does that tell you? I mean, it can happen to anybody.
You're right.
But Barrett sure had a great playoff game in that semifinal. It was a shootout, 43-41, but they are hardly shooting the lights out here. Allen out to Rocky Henry. Flag on that play. He's at the first down marker, but will sort out the penalty.
Well, the official that threw the flag was throwing it right at the point of attack. He was looking right there, and I'm not sure, maybe Rod Harris.
BC 81.
Yeah.
You got it. Harris got nailed for holding. Let's take a quick look at the first quarter numbers brought to you by Castrol GTX Drive Hard.
Well, I just remind, this is not shots on goal. That's actually yardage rushing for Saskatchewan in the first quarter. And more surprisingly, I guess, is the 7 yards rushing for the BC Lions.
And the 2 turnovers.
But this is a team in BC that wants to establish the run, and establish more than just the run in this game, but establish the attitude about that you're going to run the football heading into the playoffs. I mean, that takes a certain tenacity when you want to run the football, and it's an attitude you got to bring. They haven't brought it yet in this one. Just establish some attitude, period, I would think. 1st and 19 from their own 9-yard line after the penalty. David Allen rolling out to his right. Nowhere to go. Lawson's in his face again. I beg your pardon. Not 93, 39, Willie Pless. Yeah, and Willie Pless did this with experience. Willie Pless sniffed this play out. This is what he did. He used his experience. Watch this. He's in the middle, and watch him flow to the outside. In the middle of the formation, he sees where Damon Allen's going. This is not something that's new to Willie Pless.
He's seen it before.
228 games in the Canadian Football League. He's seen that a little bit and was right there to stop it.
The great Willie Pless in his 14th season, second in the league in tackles. Second and very long. Allen from his own end zone going long, looking for Henry, and it's too far. Willie Pless, you know, he's playing hurt right now. He's got some kind of chest injury. The Riders feel it may be some kind of cartilage damage. But he went into Cal Murphy's office and said, I can play. And Cal looked at him and said, can you play 60 minutes? We really need to know. He said, I can play.
Yeah, and that's exactly what you'll get from Willie Pless. You get that every single game. And I talked about 228 in the Canadian Football League. Well, every game is like that for Willie Pless. He's playing hurt in a game that doesn't matter, but he wants to be in it.
Louis out of his own end zone to Mayfield, who takes it at BC's 45. Mayfield looking for some room. He's got all kinds of room. Curtis Mayfield will score. Touchdown Riders.
Mayday Mayfield. Mayday Mayfield. That was our key. And Mayfield delivers, at least early. You know, the Saskatchewan Roughriders have been winning the special teams battle all game, and they win it big time here because they get the wall set up. See that wall of white jerseys set up along that side? Mayfield untouched all the way to the end zone. He didn't even have to make a move. Well, there was a little move at the end when he hopped in.
Yeah.
But that was more of a showboat move than anything.
His third punt return touchdown of the season. And it's a big play because now the Lions are even more back on their heels while the Riders have the opening score, something that a lot of people doubted that they could get in this ball game. The extra point is up and good, so it's 7-0. Saskatchewan after a 47-yard punt return from Curtis Mayfield. You're watching Adidas Friday Night Football. You know, Mike Saunders was the Riders nominee for most outstanding player, and deservedly so, but this guy's had a nice season. He's among the leaders in the CFL for touchdowns. I mentioned that was his third punt return touchdown of the season. He's got over 1,400 combined yards. He's the 8th leading receiver in the league. And he's just given his team a reason to believe here in Vancouver on a Friday night, Glenn Suter.
Yeah, Mike Saunders was the workhorse, the plow horse, but Curtis Mayfield was the filly.
Here's another guy that's been known to break one. Jimmy the Jet across the 35-yard line.
Yeah, we got to take one more look at a great run by Curtis Mayfield, but he got a lot of help from his friends because here's Mayfield here. Now watch the blocking set up here. We're setting up the wall for Saskatchewan, and the containment for BC are caught inside that wall. Now you'll lose it for a second. He'll go out of your screen to the left now if you hold it right there. See, look at this. Look at the white jersey setting up that wall. Mayfield can get outside of that. He's gone, and that's exactly what he does.
And it was easy the rest of the way in. So now I think would be a good time for the Lions to answer. Drummond up the middle for a couple more before Colin Scribner drives him into that hard turf. Curtis Mayfield has made a big statement here. He said score first obviously would be a key, and that is a huge key because these guys needed a reason to think, okay, we can win this game. They haven't won in 8 weeks. They needed a reason to believe it.
Yeah, and I've been in the position that the Saskatchewan Roughriders are in, and it was actually on the same team. We were out of the playoffs, 3 games to go, and you know, you look at the offseason ahead of you, the 6 months, you think we got to win our last game.
2nd and 8. Allen has Don Blair for the first down and a whole lot more. Blair finally brought down inside the Saskatchewan 50-yard line. Gain of 22 on the play to the slot back, Don Blair.
Damon Allen told me that you got to watch Don Blair. He kind of gave me sort of a half wink and said, watch Don Blair because him and I are starting to get on the same page. And that was the timing pattern to Don Blair. And Damon Allen has to throw this on time or he's going to get hit again. See the pressure coming off the edge from Connolly, and that's a timing pattern. The timing was right. He just said, watch for Don Blair. We're starting to get on the same page.
First and 10 from the 48. Oh, there's a big hit at the line of scrimmage. Robert Drummond is feeling that one.
The newcomer in the lineup off the edge, Kelly Malvo. He's playing a halfback position. Played a little bit last week. Again, Saskatchewan going with a lot of gambling. They're blitzing, and Robert Drummond got hit in the thighs, and he's limping. See, he's coming off the edge right there. There's the halfback. Blair misses him. He can't come down, and he pushes him right into Robert Drummond.
Looked as though he almost got it in the knee there.
Drummond is still limping.
Allen out of the shotgun on second and long over the top. Nice catch. Rod Harris.
You see, they went with it again. Saskatchewan went with Vincent Donaldson off the edge that time. And this time, Damon Allen recognizes it. Drummond was still limping. He was the guy that went to block. Look at him wave off the coaching staff. They want to bring him out. They want to say, hey, come and rest. We'll put Juan Johnson in the game. Drummond said, no way. My mission was to go from start to finish.
And what did Greg Marshall, defensive coach for Saskatchewan, tell us about the rookie Malvo? They said he's a physical player, a hard hitter. Not really big, but he can hit you. And he put a good hit there on Drummond. Here's the swing out to Eddie Brown, and he runs into a gang as well. As the BC Lions leading receiver finally gets into the ball game, but doesn't really get much more out of it.
Leading receiver that won't have 1,000 yards on the year. When your quarterback throws for 4,000, you'd think that one of the 5 starters would get 1,000 yards. Well, Eddie Brown has 800 coming into the game, 809 to be exact, and just the 2 touchdowns, but over 50 catches, and 3 of the BC receivers have over 50 catches.
Gain of 3, so it's 2nd and 7. Allen. And that pass is picked off by Shannon Garrett. A great play, and he's racing back up the sidelines. Drummond makes the tackle. And if you don't think the Saskatchewan Roughriders came to play tonight, that look should tell you everything you need to know. Shannon Garrett with his 3rd pick of the season. And the Rider pride is showing up tonight on Adidas Friday Night Football. Well, there's the look on Damon Allen's face. He's talking to Danny Barrett there. He has thrown his 13th interception of the season. Riders have it at their own 20-yard line. They escape without allowing any points there. Chris Zarka's got a whole lot of room. Chris Zarka out of the backfield. Look at him go. Zarka is finally brought down by Dave Donaldson. Chris Zarka doesn't get many starts, but with Sean Daniels injured, he is in. And the Vancouver native rumbled for 64 yards.
Sneaks out of the backfield. Little screen to Chris Zarka. The whole BC defense had gone to the play side, which was their left, and Zarka went the opposite way.
Zarka came into the game with 40 yards receiving on the entire season. He surpassed that on that one play, and the Riders are now sitting at the Lions 25. Pump fake, Sarkisian looking for Narcisse, who came back to the ball, and did he get it in? Yes, he did. Make it 216 consecutive games with a catch, and it was a nice one and a big one as it puts him inside the 10.
216 catches and 216 of that little dance thing that he does when he catches a big one. It was little out and up. Everyone thinks that Don Narcisse is always going to be the short guy. Watch him, little out, and then we're going to go down the sidelines and come back to the football when it's underthrown. Carter can't gather himself, and the streak is alive at 216.
And the Riders are moving the ball. They're at the 7. 1st and goal from the BC 7. Narcisse with only 1 touchdown so far this season. He's to the near side. Fake the handoff. Sarkisian into the end zone. Touchdown. And look who's got it. The big fella, Jeremy O'Day.
Oh, boy.
And he is mobbed. Flags down on the play, however.
When you're a desperate team, you pull out all the stops. And pulling out all the stops, you can take it to a different level. Pulling out all the stops when you're throwing the ball.
No infraction on the play. 54 reported as an eligible receiver. Touchdown.
Yeah, you knew that they were going to, if they were going to run that play, you knew that they wouldn't screw that up.
Well, he was the tight end. Jeremy O'Day comes in and he reports. He says, I'm eligible. I'm tight end. I'm going to be on the line just to make sure because he's a lineman. So they'll think he's ineligible immediately.
Yeah, he reported as the 295-pound slot back.
He had the sweet hands there, didn't he?
Well, it was right between the 5 and the 4. But he made the catch. The extra point is through, and how about this? Hello, Regina. Are you up? I know it's late on a Friday night, but your team has a 14-0 lead in BC.
When you're that big as Jeremy O'Day and the football's coming to you, you're really intimidating the ball. This is Jeremy O'Day right here. He's going to sneak out in the play action. David Benefield gets caught looking in the backfield. And both safeties, Raphael Robinson and Scott Thomas, got caught looking at Steve Sarkisian and couldn't help him out.
And here we are midway through the second quarter, and the BC Lions are in a 14-0 hole. Jimmy the Jet. Flag on the play. Todd McMillan makes the tackle on the Jet. The key play, there was a couple. It started with this interception deep in Riders territory. Damon Allen was looking deep. He put it up, and look at the catch that Shannon Garrett makes there. That is a beauty.
Well, coaches will tell defensive backs, you always got to go for that football at its highest point. Garrett did that, brought it back. That was the start of a great drive that finished off with none other than the swift-footed, sure-handed Jeremy O'Day catching the touchdown.
We've got an injured player down on the field. I believe it's number 11, Paul Girodo. Played his college ball here in Vancouver at UBC. It's 14-0 Saskatchewan. We'll take a quick break and come right back to BC Place. Jeremy's over on the side. He's talking it up, isn't he? Talking it up over on the sidelines. Jeremy O'Day's loving that.
Yeah, telling more straight. So there I was. I'm sprinting down the end zone, blowing by all their defensive backs. No, come here for a second.
For the ball.
No, guys, you should have seen a one-handed. With one hand, I pulled the football in, and now we've got
another guy off with my other hand. The scoring drive is brought to you by a buck a call, and don't forget the big play by Chris Zarka either.
Yeah.
As there was a huge defensive breakdown by the BC Lions. Paul Girodo's limping off the field. 26-year-old in his first year with Saskatchewan.
Cal Murphy just checked with him to see if he'll be all right to return, because if he's not, there's a lot of juggling they have to do on special teams.
The Lions took a penalty on that last return, pushed him back to their own 15. Allen to Drummond, looking for a block. Got one kind of from Jamie Terrace. Well, to say the BC Lions offense is out of sync would be a bit of an understatement right now, Glenn.
Yeah, you just want to, if you're coach, you just want to just take that and go like that and start again, because that's ugly.
Mind you, what are the Saskatchewan Roughriders doing defensively to confuse them?
Well, what they're doing is they're pulling out all the stops. Like we mentioned, Joe Paopau's seen a lot of secondary blitzes from Saskatchewan, and believe me, as a player and a coach, he's seen a bunch of them. And when you use secondary blitz, you can get burned in a hurry.
2nd and 6, Allen. And he is wrapped up. Arkel Trulak got him.
He just stole that dance. That's Alfred Payton's dance. Of course, Alfred Payton's dance got him in trouble in Montreal.
And you can see, look at the spirit in these guys now.
Well, yeah, that's what you do. You're giving a team that is struggling, and you're giving a team, look at Trulak right here on Mo Elwanibi. I mean, you're giving a team that is struggling and a team that's been frustrated throughout this season and knows they have nothing to do but win this football game and help them in the offseason. You give them some life.
Here's Mayfield. Gets just over the midfield stripe. Cal Murphy, you know, yesterday he was downright emotional when he talked about whether or not his team could pull it together. It's been a very long season. They've lost 8 in a row. They came in banged out. He's upset about a call
Major foul, unnecessary roughness. Saskatchewan 19. It was after the play, first down.
Well, you can see why he was so upset. Mike Moore taking a dead ball foul. And he was not happy about that at all.
So you tell me, is this a coach right here that is playing in a game that doesn't mean anything? No, he's reacting. He's mad. He's over there. As a penalty he didn't think that.
Lost his hat and the headset.
Should have got. He threw the headset around. He's, you know. I mean, these guys are professionals, and they work hard, and there's a lot of pride out there.
So the penalty sets him back. Sarkisian into the air, and that one was almost picked off, but nice play by Reggie Jones. Jones knew he couldn't make the catch, but he did not want the defensive back to make it either.
You know, the Saskatchewan Roughriders just got an unnecessary roughness penalty, and I think Greg Mons would like to see his team get a couple of unnecessary roughness penalties because they're playing soft, and that play right there is an indication of how they're playing. Because Donaldson kind of came across, waited for the football to come to him, and Reggie Jones knocked it out of there. They need to attack. Not only attack the football, but attack Saskatchewan. They're playing off a little bit right now.
2nd and 10. Sarkisian back into the air, right over the middle for Dan Farthing. First down into BC territory. You know, getting back to the point I was making about Cal Murphy, he was getting emotional about whether or not his team would show up to play, and he says, I've got a very strong belief about this. He says, you put the uniform on, you put the equipment on, you come to play, or you do not play at all.
Well, that's it, and there's no question, and there's no other way to do it. When you walk across the stripe, you play at your best of your ability, no matter what. If you don't, you're selling out in the other games. If you play harder in some games, you've sold out in the other ones.
Reggie Jones close to another first down, and now Sarkisian is starting to get this offense moving. They started off very slow, just as the Lions have been, but they're starting to slowly but surely build some momentum and get on the same page.
Well, he's putting up some good numbers right now. I mean, 8 for 12, 114 yards, no interceptions, and that's been the problem for him, and that has been his big problem all year. Too many interceptions, and usually at the wrong time, and none so far in this game tonight.
I mentioned Jones was close to the first down, not close enough. They've got less than a yard to go. Steve Sarkisian out of BYU, a quarterback factory in the past. Didn't a guy named Steve Young come out of there?
Steve who? Oh, that guy. Yeah, the San Francisco guy. Yeah.
And believe it or not, he actually broke Steve Young's record for passing percentage.
Yep.
Very, very accurate passer in college. And he's been pretty accurate in terms of his percentage this season, over 60%, but everybody looks at those interceptions that he's thrown, and there are a lot of them. There's no doubt about it. The turnovers have killed the Riders. He's thrown 21 interceptions himself.
Yeah, you know, though, when you think of the great quarterbacks in this league, and you think of Ron Lancaster, or in any league for that matter, think of Ron Lancaster, Steve Young, doesn't matter who you're talking about. In their first couple of years, they threw a lot of interceptions too, and that's just part of the learning curve, and so did he. Damon Allen threw a lot of interceptions early. He's thrown way less in the last 5 years of his career. That's a learning process.
Sarkisian's got a brand new set of downs to work with. Hands off to Zarka, who tried to power his way ahead for a few more. Couldn't run over Noah Cantor. Couldn't get away from him, however. Cal Murphy.
And unfortunately for Cal Murphy and the Saskatchewan Roughriders, that's sort of been their dilemma all season. They know that Steve Sarkisian needs time to develop, but this is a team that doesn't have any time. They have to win.
Well, it's a dilemma across the board in the CFL. You don't really have time to go through the rebuilding seasons when there were only 8 teams and the fans kind of wanted to see a winner all the time, and there's already a quarterback shortage. 2nd and 8. Out of the backfield, it's Whittle. Ricky Whittle looking for the outside. He's got it, gets to the 25 before he's bounced out of bounds by Scott Thomas.
It's a good point, though, Dave. And you know, I'd like to continue with it because at some point, whoever the coach is next year in Saskatchewan and whoever their quarterbacks are, and I'm sure Steve Sarkisian will be one of them, they have to say, listen, we're going to need some patience. Steve Sarkisian is going to be a good player, but we need to be patient with him. And right now, this is what he can do. This is what he's capable of. When he just plays within the system, he's okay.
And right now, he's got him at the 22. Here comes the heat. Herman Smith chasing him down. He got it away just in time.
This is what I'm talking about. He's put together a nice drive here. He's getting the heat from behind. He can feel the heat. So what does he do? He throws the football away. during the year, he would throw that to the wrong team.
Or the 3-minute warning, the Riders have a 14-0 lead in Vancouver. You are watching Adidas Friday Night Football. Well, 2:59 to go in the first half, and Steve Sarkisian is threatening to add to that Saskatchewan lead unless the BC Lions defense can step up and do something about it and start turning the tide their way. Quick pass to Jones, and that is incomplete. And of course, with only a few moments left, the boys back at CFL Control are revving it up. Boy, Chris Schultz was very to the point and direct with his criticism of the BC Lions after the first quarter. I wonder what he'll have to say after, well, 2.
He was absolutely right, too.
Yeah.
He was absolutely right. The Lions are flat. They're not playing like a first-place team, and if they play like this in the playoffs, it'll be a quick playoff run for them.
James, Chris, and Matt set to go. And Paul McCallum is on to kick what will be a 30-yard field goal. And it is straight down the middle. So it's 17-0 after the 30-yarder from Paul McCallum. And who would have thought this? Coming up after the football game tonight, lots to talk about on Sports Desk. Pavel Bure and the Florida Panthers. They're playing across the street, but Pavel was a no-go. Has a hand injury, so he could not make his return to Vancouver. Lucky Luke Robitaille, not so lucky. He's out 2 to 6 weeks. We'll tell you about that injury. Look at Tiger Woods playing golf like you and I.
Yeah, that's how I play.
The funeral was held today for the great Walter Payton. We'll have a Breeders' Cup preview and lots more with Dutch and Farhan. Here's Damon Allen. He's got Eddie Brown, and Brown is near the Saskatchewan 35-yard line. There's some life for the Lions offense. A 41-yard gain.
They've been pretty conservative all game, and then they go to the pump fake and go deep to Eddie Brown. The pump fake went out to Jimmy the Jet. Eddie Brown got in behind the coverage of Shannon Garrett and Todd McMillan, and he uses his great speed to run under the football. But this is what they have to do for BC, is start to stretch it out a little bit.
They stretched it out there. They're at the Saskatchewan 34-yard line with a first down. Allen. Lots of time. A little high for Rod Harris again. Boy, he just seems to be a little out of sync when he's going for number 81. Passes have been high.
Yeah, but Rod Harris is not coming out of the lineup because Rod Harris does the little things away from the football better than any one of the receivers they have here, and that's why Greg Munz will not take him out. He does the great things with blocking for running plays. He blocks for receivers downfield. He'll pick up blitzes. He's smart, and he'll tell the rest of the guys how to get on the same page.
2nd and 10. They need a touchdown here to get back in this game, and that is not going to work. He bounced it in front of Don Blair, and Joe Pow can't believe it.
Well, it's just a bad throw by Damon Allen, and there's no way that you can draw it up any differently. Blair was there, and Damon Allen just didn't get him the football. So as the coordinator, nothing you can say. Damon Allen knows that that's his. You know, but I do not want to be in that locker room at halftime when Greg Munz goes in there and addresses his football team.
You know, I think we are surprised to some degree that it is 17-0 as Louis lines up for a 41-yard field goal.
Heads up.
And it's in, off the post and in what's been a tough season for Lou kicking field goals. But they'll take those 3 points. You know, I was saying that we should be surprised to some degree about the turn of events here. However, the BC Lions, despite their record, despite the fact they are 12-5 coming in, they have not done things the easy way at all this season.
Well, that's what Greg Munz said, and you know, you look at those numbers. I mean, the Lions and the Stamps are tied. You know, the Stamps are watching this one, cheering for Saskatchewan. That gives them an opportunity for first place, and Greg Munz knows that, and that's why he said when he was asked, you know, if you get the lead, are you going to pull players out in the game and all that? He said, forget about that.
Yeah,
all
he sure did.
We've never had a lead. I mean, we make it hard all the time.
Saskatchewan from their 35 after the BC field goal. Little play action. Faked handoff. Goes to Whittle. And he's to the 50-yard line. They've really only blown out one team or manhandled one team, and that was the Montreal Alouettes in a game back in August right here at BC Place. Other than that, I was kind of looking it up, and there was really only four other of their 12 wins that they've had it decided before the fourth quarter. One of them was in overtime in Edmonton.
Well, Greg Mons will simply say, hey, we got a pretty good record and one we're proud of.
Yeah.
And that's all that matters. But that's what has people here in Vancouver scratching their heads, because they can blow out Montreal and then lose some other team.
That pass did not connect. But you're right. I mean, he knows what's, and we were asking him too. We were saying, you know, you are 12-5. Do you like the way your team's playing? And he's a football man. You don't have to tell him that his team is not really playing that well, but he's also not going to let the negative talk get to him, or especially his players.
Yeah, he's getting right now. See him shake his head? He's getting right now in his mind what he's going to say at halftime. He's rehearsing it.
Got the speech going.
Oh, boy. I'm going to call the painter because they're going to need a new coat.
2nd and 10. Sarkisian is dropped. David Benefield, who's had an outstanding season for the Lions, stops Sarkisian and the Riders in their tracks.
He really has he's had a great season, and he just comes off the edge. Nothing fancy about David Benefield on this one. Watch him upfield first, and then he gets the angle. And when he gets the angle and gets low like that, he gets leverage on Ben Fairbrother. You see, when he goes upfield, now he's setting up Ben Fairbrother. Then when he comes down low, he's got the leverage. He gets the shoulders underneath Fairbrother's shoulders. That's why he wins the battle.
Benefield with his 9th sack of the season. A high punt from McCallum. The Jet is under it from his own 20. Wasn't able to get away from the tacklers. Yeah, David Benefield, 9 sacks now, 5 forced fumbles, tied for first in the CFL. There's Sports Desk that we talked about. Farhan Lalji and Darren Detition getting ready to go. A lot of things that you will see along with all the NHL highlights. Big game going on across the street.
Yeah,
right?
What's up with Pavel Bure, man? He's got a little pinky problem and he can't play. Come on. Let's see, he'd never be a football player.
A lot of disappointed hockey fans in Vancouver. They were getting ready to boo him.
Wow. And he's got a little pinky problem. Well, I guess it's broken, but
it is broken. David Allen running it himself. Picks up a couple of yards. Yeah, GM Place, for those of you who have not been to downtown Vancouver, it is literally right across the street from BC Place. And actually, if the game's out of hand, your ticket to the Canuck game gets you into the BC Lions game.
That's right.
So we could see an influx of people, you know, before the fourth quarter.
And if Damon Allen can get a drive here with lots of time left in this half, 1 minute and 20 seconds, and get a major on the board, BC Lions are right back in it going in half as poorly as they played.
Yeah. 2nd and 5. Allen goes back to the air, looking for Don Blair. He got him. Don Blair's not 100%. He's suffering from the flu. He told me that he was a little groggy during the pregame warm-up, but he's toughing it out, and he made a nice catch there.
You see that move right at the beginning, just before he took that break to the outside on Shannon Garrett? See how he stood him up a little bit, went kind of looked to the inside. That got Garrett to turn his hips, and then he broke to the out.
Under a minute to go. Allen. Henry. The hit arrived just as the ball did from Kelly Malvo, making his first start for the Riders.
And Kelly Malvo is simply in there to be evaluated because Vincent Donaldson is in the lineup, but they chose to move Vincent Donaldson to the nickel position in the extra defensive back so they can take a look at Kelly Malvo.
Gain of 9 on that play. Allen to a wide open Rocky Henry. What a catch, and he's still on his feet, finally down and around the 45. A great catch by Rocky Henry, a guy who's just been inserted back into the lineup.
And he's lost his belt. He's got to pull up his pants. What a catch. Coming across the middle. It's plays like this. So this is the enthusiasm I talked about from a rookie.
Whoa.
A one-hander way behind him pulls it in while losing his pants.
And they move the chains. Allen to Harris. Rod Harris, another first down and more. Harris down the sidelines inside the 20. 28 seconds to go. Checking the clock.
You know why they got it going now in BC? Because they're running the hurry-up offense, and they got a little rhythm going. They've changed the tempo of the game now, and Damon Allen now has the tempo on his huddle. You know, when you saw that Rod Harris play, see how he broke that last tackle? That's the little things I'm talking about, the little things that Rod Harris does.
And Saskatchewan has taken a timeout, which is a good thing for them to do, because a lot of the success the Lions have had offensively this season has come during the hurry-up offense. A lot of people wonder why they don't run it maybe a little bit more.
Just watch the little things that Rod Harris, and this is what I'm talking about, whether it's blocking on a running play, Rod Harris on the crossing route. So he's just going to catch this one. Vincent Donaldson closing. Now watch him break through that. No way. You're not going to tackle him with that one. Get the extra yardage and then be smart enough to get out of bounds.
They started at their own 21. They're now at the Riders' 16. Time is not on their side. They got 28 seconds to work with here. 1st and 10. Allen out of the shotgun. Pump fake into the end zone. Over the head of Don Blair.
Well, Don Blair
had him open.
Wide open. But you know what? Don Blair was wide open, but he was standing right beside the goalpost. So Damon Allen had to throw the football over the goalpost. Look where you're going to see right at the end of this, the ball. See where Blair is? Right beside the goalpost. So Damon Allen has to throw it up and over that, and he also throws it over Blair. So he's got to see, look at it. You got to throw it between the posts. If he threw it right at Blair, it would have hit the post. That's the extra defender for Saskatchewan.
Worked for him that time. 2nd and 10. Allen, time to pass, going back into the end zone. Same play, touchdown. Don Blair. And all of a sudden, this place is alive.
Well, they may not need quite as thick a skin in the locker room now because of a good drive right here, because Damon Allen recognizes that the Saskatchewan Roughriders are playing a little shallow down in their own end. Curtis Gallick gets caught too shallow, and Don Blair gets in behind him.
The extra point by Louis is straight down the middle, and the Lions have crept back into this one. It's now a 7-point deficit, 17-10. And our man on the logger gets a bit of a workout.
Yeah, well, he's a little slow because he's kind of cold.
Yeah, he had to limber up.
I'll tell you something, though. This play is made by Rod Harris. So watch Rod Harris right over here slip in. He calls the play. See, he sees that the Saskatchewan defense are going to try the blitz. Watch him slide in there. He's going to pick it. Nope, they're not blitzing. Okay, I'm getting over. He was yelling at Damon Allen. He helped Damon Allen to figure out exactly what defense he saw, and Don Blair was the guy who was wide open right down the seam. He's the guy who's going to catch it in the back of the end zone. And that's the rookie, Kelly Malvo, who he gets in behind. Curtis Gallick was caught a little shallow. But Rod Harris was the guy who audibled on the line of scrimmage, gave Damon Allen a little help. They all recognized it together, and when you recognize the defense together, boy, you can make them pay.
And this time Damon was going to say, I'm throwing that. I'm not going to worry about the goalpost. I'm just throwing this one.
You know what he said? He threw it. Last time I overthrew it because they're trying to avoid the goalpost. This time, hey, what's the chances of me really hitting?
What are the chances of hitting that thing? Not very good. You know, those guys golf a lot together. They spend a lot of time off the field together, and I was talking to Don about it before this game, and you're right. He said what Damon told you, Don told me. He said, we're starting to get on the same page. We've been looking at a lot of, mind you, it is week 18. You would hope that they would be doing that. But Don Blair, for the 2nd straight week, has caught a touchdown pass. Here's Ricky Whittle on the kickoff return.
No, but Dave, you're right. I mean, yes, it's week 18, but these things take time. I mean, that's what we talked about, being patient, whether it be with a quarterback or with a quarterback and receiver combination. And, these things take time. It's week 18, but hey, this is the time when the BC Lions want to be clicking offensively. And although they haven't so far, except for one drive in the first half, and that's the one, 7 plays, they may get it down the playoffs, and that's when they want it.
And that's all Blair is concerning himself with. Says, if I get a ring into this deal, I'm not going to worry about the fact that I did not hit 1,000 yards receiving. Just 10 seconds to go here. And the Riders are going to run this out. Content to go into the locker room with the lead that not many people thought that they would have at the half.
Yeah, no question. This is what you do, though. I mean, there's 10 seconds left. There's no way you want to force anything now. You just get out of there. You got the 7-point lead. You go back and you regroup from that one drive. Come back in the second half with a lead.
Greg Mons warned us that this could happen. And it's happening so far. It's 17-10 Saskatchewan at the half. You're watching Adidas Friday Night Football.
You're watching Adidas Friday Night Football, and we're at the half. Brought to you by Canadian Airlines, a member of One World.
Well, maybe they heard Chris yelling at them after one quarter. It took almost a quarter and a half, but finally something woke up the BC Lions. You know, this was supposed to be so easy. Cruise past Saskatchewan, take the week off, go into the Western Final, and go play in the Grey Cup at home. It has not been easy, and perhaps that is the problem, Chris, is they thought it was going to be easy. I think they know it's not now.
Yeah, I think they took the Saskatchewan Roughriders a little bit for granted. You know, a lot of the comments coming out of BC was about the infighting among the players. Players were commenting on the effort level of their teammates and the productivity on the teammates. That's the best way to diffuse the ability to really play good football. And it's evident on the special teams play because this is an effort play. It's very easy in terms of getting down the field, off the line of scrimmage. But look at Curtis Mayfield. One move up the middle, second move up the middle, and then he's down the sidelines. And there's no one even close to Curtis Mayfield. Now, on a special teams play, you first diagnose where the ball is going to go, and then it's a matter of hustle. It's a great indication as to the focus of your football team. I know they came back with the last drive, but still, the BC Lions are struggling, Matt.
Well, I think they turned the corner, Chris.
Yeah.
They struggled first, and they came out very, very flat. That was evident. I did have a Chris Sarka play for you, that long catch and run, but no, I'm going to go with Damon Allen and how he turned this thing around. He started distributing the football. First, Eddie Brown, big catch on a corner route. Then you've got Harris, 28 yards, and Blair for the touchdown. And then you had the youngster Henry coming in there making a big one-headed catch. Damon Allen is getting his people around him involved with the hurry-up offense, kept Saskatchewan on their heels, and I think this is going to spark them to start playing like the team they're capable of playing like.
Yeah, I get the feeling they looked a little bit desperate in the last few minutes, and that's what they probably need in the second half. As for Saskatchewan, where has this kind of enthusiasm been for the first 17 weeks? They lead it 17-10 is the score at the break. Damon Allen threw it, and Garrett got it. And the Riders have a 7-point lead at the break.
Friday night football tonight.
We are back for two more tomorrow. The Stamps and Ticats Saturday afternoon, then the Eskimos and Argos Saturday evening. Both games do have or could have playoff implications. The Bombers and Alouettes on the CBC Sunday. That one also could be important. And Chris, Calgary-Hamilton, well, if this keeps up, that will be a big game.
You know, it really will be because more than anything else, the coaches of these two teams will have a little bit of a dilemma. I mean, do I play my starters the entire game? Do I risk a key injury? Or how do I keep the competitive edge? How do I keep the team tough, so to speak, going into the playoffs, especially if the BC Lions wins tonight? I think in the case of Calgary, they must have extreme confidence. They beat Montreal. They have beat the BC Lions. And if they beat Hamilton, they're going to have the nice level of security, knowing that they are truly one of the best in the league. On the other side with Hamilton, I think it's a timing issue. Danny McManus right now is pretty hot. He's got to keep that cohesion with his receivers. I expect both teams to play their starters, regardless of what happens tonight, and really go for that edge, for that attitude going into the playoffs, James.
And you guys talked before the game about how every team should play that way pretty much every game. Edmonton-Toronto has a game. Nothing game for Toronto, big game for Edmonton, and Toronto seems to be treating it like a nothing game, Matt.
Yeah, in fact, Jim Barker said earlier in the week that the only game that matters is the game against Hamilton. Now, I beg to differ. They played last week's game in Winnipeg like it was the Grey Cup and got beat up and paid the price. I think if they take that approach going in against Edmonton, a team that's going to pull out all stops because it's a must-win game from them, I think the same thing could happen. They can find themselves even further behind the 8-ball, James.
Now, these are our last games this weekend, but we're not done yet. When it's all over, we're going to pack up all our stuff, put it in the back of Chris's 73 Pinto, and go on the road. We're going to the Grey Cup in Vancouver. We have an award show and a preview of the Grey Cup show Friday, November 26, 9 o'clock Eastern. It is playoff time in the CIAU. Western on top of the rankings. The Mustangs host 9th-ranked Waterloo in the OUA semis this weekend. But our match to catch, well, it's the other Ontario semi. Number 8, Mac versus number 7, Laurier. Laurier won the regular season contest. The final in that one was 53-27. Well, I think it's probably because the reason they scored those 10 points in the last couple of minutes for the Lions was just to avoid getting yelled at by Greg Mons at halftime. We spoke to Mons before he spoke to his players.
For about a quarter and a half, we weren't very good at all. It was very dismal performance, and outside of our defense, I thought in the first quarter really played well. Gave up a couple big plays in the second quarter, but we've got to do a better job. And it was good the offense came out and got the going and got the score there, but we've got a lot of work to do. You know, give Saskatchewan credit. I said all week they were going to come out and give us a good game, and they're playing hard.
What did the offense do right on that last drive that they weren't doing for the whole first half?
Well, first of all, we were giving Damon protection and blocking up front, and then we were executing properly. That's bottom line is execution.
And they executed well on that last drive. A lot of those passing yards coming on that last drive. And without Mike Saunders, Saskatchewan really struggling on the ground. Second half adjustments, Matt.
Well, Greg Mons goes into halftime. What does he have to say to the players? Nothing. He doesn't have to say a thing. The professional athletes, they know what they need to do to get out there and take this victory away from Saskatchewan. It's a simple thing. They got to go out there and execute. Monzi doesn't have to say anything. Those players need to pick it up, and they will in the second half, I believe.
And I think the players know that, because the reality of the situation is BC's self-destructiveness has really helped Saskatchewan. The difference for Saskatchewan, as I see it, is a different type of enthusiasm. Where was it for the earlier part of the season, James?
BC Lions need to keep up the momentum they established at the end of the first half. The Saskatchewan Roughriders, 1 half away from the biggest upset of the season. Lions got it going at the end of the first half. It's the old Blair Catch Project. They trail by 7.
Welcome back to Vancouver. Downtown is a busy place tonight. There's GM Place at the bottom of your screen. BC Place right across the street. The Canucks are losing. Are they losing or winning? 3-2.
They're losing 3-2, and the Lions are also down.
Yeah.
17-10. That was from the blimp shot.
Yeah.
But we got to talk to somebody, because we ordered the blimp when we're in the dome, and well, we got the one shot out of it anyway.
The blimp doesn't mind.
No, the blimp's fine.
Doesn't mind.
It's up there circling.
17-10 as we begin the second half of play. Jimmy the Jet Cunningham. Whoa, that ball's loose. And Saskatchewan has got this one. Vincent Donaldson going the wrong way, however. But they do have possession. Jimmy the Jet. He's been neutralized as a return man, and now he's coughed it up in this ball game twice.
Well, you know, the first fumble, he did it on his own. And he was going to the sideline, and that one bounced out of that. Was the first quarter. Here comes the second fumble, and this time it's a hit. So that one you got to give to Saskatchewan defense, but they're winning the special teams battle. They
sure
have
are.
all game.
Yeah. Yeah, remember the Curtis Mayfield punt return touchdown in the first half. Sarkisian on first down, hands off to Whittle. Ricky Whittle looking for the outside, picks up some good yardage. Check out the old quarterback numbers after a first half that certainly wasn't textbook football, Glenn.
No, I mean, it was sloppy, especially from the BC Lions point of view. And Saskatchewan really, you know, Steve Sarkisian didn't play badly, but he really didn't light it up either. You know, but that's what Steve Sarkisian has seen defensively from BC. A lot of zone, dump it underneath, and take what they're giving you.
Gain of 5 on that play. 2nd and 5. Lots of time for Sarkisian. Long throw to Narcisse. Couldn't quite get it there. So it'll be 2 and out after the turnover from Jimmy the Jet. And remember, the first half as well, there were 2 BC turnovers that Saskatchewan could not take advantage of.
One of the keys that I thought in the game was going to be the fact that the Lions would have to just rush 4, that they probably felt defensively they could outman the Saskatchewan offense. Well, they have been rushing 4 in the first half, but it hasn't been very effective. Right now, they're rushed 4 20 times and rushed more than 4 only 9 times. That was in the first half of play. So maybe they do have to mix in a few blitzes.
Again, it goes to Cunningham. And again, he's wrapped up. A 36-yard punt, a 6-yard return. But he hung onto the ball this time, and Damon Allen takes to the field after a solid drive to finish off the first half.
If I'm Damon Allen, I do this in the second half as well, and that's run the hurry-up offense. Call the plays on the line of scrimmage, keep the pace of the game in your huddle, keep moving the sticks, and that's what Damon Allen did in that last drive. A pass to Rocky Henry. Rod Harris right there picks up another first down, and then the touchdown in the back of the end zone to Don Blair, and a perfect read. The defense that he saw in front of him. So Damon Allen and the hurry-up offense had success to end the half.
An 89-yard drive in the final minute got them within 7. Here they are on first down. Allen going to the air again, and that one is not long enough for Rocky Henry. Now, a lot of veterans on this BC Lions squad, obviously. And I'm just thinking about what Matt Dunnigan and Chris Schultz and James were saying. I wonder if Mons did bite his tongue and didn't say anything at halftime.
I don't think that could happen. You know, and I agree with, I mean, I'm serious. I agree with Matt Dunnigan.
With their point, yeah.
Yeah, because you're a veteran player sitting there. You don't need to know. You don't need to hear anything from the coach.
There's a completion to Rocky Henry right at the first down marker.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you're sitting there. You know you had a stinker of a first half. And individually, the players know best. They're sitting there saying, okay, I've got to pick up my game. But I don't know that Greg Mons can go in there and just walk in there and say, okay, you guys know what to do, and I'll see you later.
Yeah, I don't think so. I've been around him now for an entire season, and he's an emotional guy that has lots to say. Robert Drummond out of the backfield. He's close to another first down. And close to the Lions' 50-yard line. And the BC Lions open up the second half the way they finished the first half, moving the ball a little bit. You know, interesting to note, Glenn, people talk about the lack of the passing game of the BC Lions. In games in which Damon Allen's passed for over 300 yards, they're 1-3. Go figure that one out.
Well, that's what, you know, I've been saying all year about Damon Allen, that people that criticize him are saying, you know, well, sometimes he has those games where he throws for 120 yards. And I say, yeah, but you know what? Most of the time this year, those have been games that they've won. You know, and if it's 120 yards and 1 touchdown and you get the W, you've done your job in that position. You distributed the football. You've done what you had to make the plays, enough plays, even if it was only 1 or 2, to win the game. And you know, and that's why I think Damon Allen is a deserving nominee for the outstanding player.
Mo Eloanibi, the offensive lineman for the Lions, is down on the field. We'll be back in a moment to Vancouver on Adidas Friday Night Football.
Here's how Mo Eloanibi got hurt. Here he is over here. Watch Willie Pless all the way over here, come all the way across and get Mo Eloanibi. He's looking downfield. He's not worried about Willie Pless at the opposite side of the formation. Pless flies across and puts the helmet right on the thigh of Eloanibi's right leg.
We understand he's got a bruised thigh. He's standing. He'll be back in 3 plays. You can bet on that. Allen swings it out to Eddie Brown. David Allen. Yeah, you're right in getting back to talking about moving the ball through the air. Sometimes his numbers aren't that big. Like last week, 189 yards passing, just 2 touchdowns, but no interceptions in a gutty kind of physical win against a strong Hamilton team. He only went 6 of 20 in a game earlier this season in Toronto, but they won that one. Here he is on second down, out of the shotgun. A bullet to Rocky Henry, who's close to the first down marker. We'll see where they spot it.
I'm just going to say a couple numbers about Damon Allen, and that really, you know, should put an end to the question mark. This guy is maybe a year and a half away from passing Ron Lancaster all time. He'll throw for over 4,000 yards this year, and he still has an opportunity, and a very good one, to put his team in first place in the West and get the bye to the Grey Cup, or to the Western Final, excuse me, with 1 game to the Grey Cup. That's all that has to be said about the season he's had.
3rd and inches situation here. Looks like they got that one.
Oh, and by the way, he runs a little bit too. You know, I mean, Damon Allen not only is the all-time leading rusher as a quarterback, well, he's creeping up the list all time with running backs as well.
If Allen were to win the most outstanding player award, and there's certainly a lot of competition out there, he would become the second oldest player to do so at 36 years of age. Throws that one up for Rocky Henry, who's all over the field. He's got a little room. Henry inside the 20. Rocky Henry, they can't bring him down. Inside the 10. Did they strip him of the ball? It looks like.
I think they're saying he was down.
Yeah.
I think they're saying his knee went down.
He is down. He is down.
BC's keeping the football. Kelly Malvo was the guy at the point of attack, and he just flat out misses him. Rocky Henry, he's right out here at the boundary. See that? That was just a straight miss. So Kelly Malvo is a big hitter, but he ducked his head and flat out missed him.
Inside the 10, 1st and goal. Allen, little shovel pass to Drummond, who gets up, and he dropped the ball. Saskatchewan's got it. It's Kelly Malvo, number 22, who's laid some big hits and has made some big plays. And right now, that's one of the big ones. A huge turn of events. The BC Lions on the verge of punching it in and tying the game, and it's Saskatchewan ball going the other way on Friday Night Football. Robert Drummond does not put it on the carpet very often, and he is very upset with himself. You should have seen him storm to the sidelines after that one. But it's Saskatchewan ball at their own 27. Sarkisian looking for Farthing. Couldn't get it there. Yet another turnover by the Lions, Glenn.
Yeah, it was a little shovel pass to Drummond. Some question initially as to whether or not his knee was on the ground before the ball came out, but I think it was a pretty good call by the official. He loses control there. Now he has it, but the ball was out before he went down. Here's the return by Kelly Malvo, who wasn't really sure what to do with it. He kind of stopped and went back the other way for a second. Not sure why, but I guarantee you one thing, Robert Drummond will want the football when they get the football back.
You're absolutely right about that. 2nd and 10, the crowd getting into it. The handoff goes to Ricky Whittle, short of the 1st down as he's brought down by Raphael Robinson. Kelly Malvo, you talked about him playing for a job and they wanted to take a look at him. We're getting a great look at him tonight.
And Robert Drummond he went and talked to Damon Allen. You talked about him storming up and down the bench. He is very upset with himself. That was after the play, fumbled. Now he's going to go to Damon Allen in the huddle and says, give me the game and I'll carry it the rest of the way. You got him fired up. You might have just woke up the giant there.
However, it's another turnover that Saskatchewan is not able to capitalize on. And McCallum again punting it away to the Jet. Jimmy the Jet looking for the outside, can't get it. He's across the 40. And that's what Damon Allen and the Lions will pick it up on Adidas Friday Night Football.
Friday Night Football tonight.
Well, the Lions are coming back out, Glenn, and we'll get to see if Robert Drummond gets the ball right back to make amends. You think it's a no-brainer?
Well, every player, Dave, makes mistakes, but the great players make amends. And we'll keep our eye on Drummond because I know he's fired up right now after the fumble, and he wants to come back and make something happen.
That was not a rush on which he fumbled. It was obviously a pass, but in close to 250 carries, he's only had 4 fumbles this season. He's a sure-handed player, whether he's catching or carrying.
Well, they may go to him right now.
Nobody in the backfield. Ron Harris has got it. Harris about halfway home to a 1st down. 4 turnovers by the BC Lions in this football game. Saskatchewan's only been able to get 7 points out of those turnovers.
See, Robert Drummond lined up at the wide out position there and was pointing to Damon Allen because Shea Muirbrook, the rookie linebacker, had come out to cover him. And he wanted him to change the play so that Drummond could go deep.
Allen with 6 receivers takes it himself, gets the 1st down across the Riders' 50. So you think Robert Drummond's seeing something in the coverage here, Glenn?
Well, they're moving him around now, and he's the guy that they're going to read off of. In other words, wherever Drummond lines up, it depends on who lines up on him. See, Drummond, now he's going to take care of the little things, too. See, Arkel Truluk had no chance getting in the backfield with Drummond blocking him.
About 7 minutes to go in the third quarter. Lions driving. There's the Jet. Jimmy the Jet Cunningham. Really been an unsung hero for the BC Lions this season. You mentioned the most dangerous return man right now in the league. He's been a great receiver as well.
Oh, he better be careful giving Arkel Truluk a shot to the chops for 2 reasons. One, he'd get a penalty. The other, he's about 3 times his size.
Yeah. But Cunningham's not worried about that second point you made. He's a fiery competitor. On second down, Allen looking for Eddie Brown, and Brown didn't know that ball was coming. So the Lions stall outside of field goal range.
Yeah, Eddie Brown made the mistake there because Eddie Brown had to see the blitz. Everyone saw the blitz, including Robert Drummond. See, Eddie Brown has got to read it. See him come in from the top of your screen. See, Drummond makes the nice block. He picks up the blitz. See, Drummond sees it. Damon Allen sees it. Watch the block by Drummond there. See, he picks up the blitz on the linebacker. Everything was perfect except Eddie Brown didn't read it.
And they're going for it on 3rd and 3 from the Rider 42. Allen to Don Blair. He's close. We'll wait to see where he got it.
Whoa, it's close.
That's very close. And here's where you just wait to see where the spot is.
Well, you get forward progress, so you get where you get hit initially. You know, and I think he got hit initially on the top of the number 40. And if it's the top of the number 40, that means it's the Saskatchewan 38 and a bit. I don't want to start doing the math, but we'll just let the guys bring the chains out and tell us exactly what's up.
And Blair is still down. They're going to have to measure around him here.
That's kind of cold. They should probably wait.
I think they are.
Yeah.
Here's another look at the play.
See, this just a quick hitch. Just turn quick to the outside. You know you only got 3 to go. And now it's a matter of trying to get it in second effort. Todd McMillan throwing his body in there, and Blair turns the corner and gets up in there, and it's Kelly Malvo who comes over the top and hits him, and that's why he's still down.
Well, there's a good sight. He's looking a little dizzy, isn't he?
He's woozy, yeah, and that's what it is. They're just making sure that he was lying on the turf. As soon as he sat up, it looked like he felt a little dizzy, kind of wobbly.
Now, we told you earlier, he's really got a kind of a plugged head right now. He's got the flu, and he did not feel good when I spoke to him before this ball game.
Well, he'll feel good, even though he probably doesn't know it right now.
Yeah.
But he did get the first down.
They got the first down. Blair sits down, 4 catches for 50 yards in this ball game. And the Lions move the chains. From the Riders 39, there's the handoff to Drummond. And he's close to another first down right off the bat.
You see him run the football?
Yeah,
see, this is what I'm talking about. We saw a couple of blocks that he made. So far, he's executed his assignment perfectly since fumbling that football. Now watch this good run up the middle.
Now remember, Sean Millington had 225 yards against this very same defense last week. I'm surprised. Are you surprised that maybe they haven't run the ball a little bit more?
Well, last week it was a little bit of a defensive lineup. Yeah, I am a little surprised, but you have to keep in mind they've been down now since, midway through the first half. So they got to throw it a little bit more. But this is a different defensive lineup now with Michael Lawson in the middle of it and not Rich Young. So it changes things a little bit for BC.
So again, the Lions are deep in Rider territory, but they have not been able to punch the ball in. Other than the one pass to Blair. Allen's loose. Damon Allen inside the 10.
Well, Joe Powell hates to see this play. I mean, he loves the first down, don't get me wrong, but he hates to see his starting quarterback, get hit like that. But you know what? A play like that from Damon Allen will be just what the BC Lions need to get him fired up. Because Damon Allen says, all right, if we need to get going, then I'm the guy that needs to get us going. So I'm going to take off and run aggressively, take a hit, and get us down there in scoring range.
He ran for 19 yards on that play. First and goal. Bama Dele Ali came in on the pass rush on that play. You saw the flag on the play. And Allen's lost his helmet. Bombadeli Ali, the rookie out of Kentucky.
Major foul. Piling on. Saskatchewan 98. First down.
I said Arkel Trulak. I think it was Bombadeli Ali because Trulak's saying it wasn't me. Look at the screen.
Either way, it's a costly penalty.
Thing is, see, Trulak, he was pointing to the screen, and then the screen showed the replay, and it actually was Trulak. See 98? See there? He's late. He jumps on the pile. Not really a vicious one, but it was late. So when he looked at the replay, he said, okay, it was me. Sorry.
So it's first down again. Allen hands off to Drummond. Robert Drummond's got the touchdown.
Great players make mistakes. The great ones make amends.
And he made that one look easy.
That dance doesn't look easy. You need a choreographer for that. Choreographer. I'm sorry, choreograph the, whatever.
Yeah,
great touchdown.
Let's stick to football there, my friend.
Choreographer. That's it.
There you go.
I got it.
Bottom line is, with this extra point, the Lions have crept back into this ball game. Whoa, wait a second. Spoke too soon. Bad snap. Kahari Jones couldn't put it down. Oh boy. So the Riders still have the lead by 1. Here's a look at what happened. It was either a bad snap or Kahari Jones just dropped it.
Well, the snap came kind of high and inside. It looked a little hot too, but it was in both hands. You know, and no one talks about the holder, Kahari Jones, unless he does this. You know, until you drop the football, that's when everyone says, well, what's wrong with the holder? That takes nothing away from the fact that the Lions are back in to within a point because Robert Drummond untouched into the end zone the play before.
Yeah, Robert Drummond, they didn't really use him a whole lot down the field as we thought they may, but they used him as a decoy, as you pointed out, and he put the exclamation points on that drive. And the Lions, who were down 17-0 in the first half, have crept back within 1, but Greg Mons wanted that single point. He wanted to be all square again. Boy, you take that single point sometimes for granted, you know?
Well, yeah.
And the way things are going for the BC Lions tonight, you know, who knows, that point could end up being huge.
Yeah, you never know.
You never know.
It's an automatic play, and that's why, you know, there's frustration over there because you never ever think about the extra point. That's the one in the bank.
Well, you say it's an automatic play, so maybe that's a sign that these guys are a little tight. I don't think there's any question.
Well, you know, in the first half, they looked flat to me. I mean, they just looked flat.
Curtis Mayfield, he's got a touchdown in this ball game. Heading to his right, little move, gets across the 30. Nice return by number 89, Mayfield. Here's a look at the scoring drive, brought to you by Buck a Call.
And when you're starting to put 9-play drives together, you're starting to get it done. Third down gamble paid off. Don Blair was the guy who got dinged. He got the first down for him, kept the drive alive, and Robert Drummond capped it off with that 5-yard run, and Greg Mons is back in it within a point.
With the win tonight, the BC Lions would not only clinch first place in the West, they would also tie their club record for wins in a single season. With 13, little pass back to Mayfield. He's going to throw, and he's throwing into a crowd. That one didn't have much of a chance. There was double coverage on Reggie Jones. Not a bad spiral, though, by Curtis Mayfield.
Well, you could tell Curtis Mayfield when he took the toss, he was going way deeper than he usually does on a reverse. That's the dead giveaway. And surprisingly, Scott Thomas was not fooled, not because he's not a good football player, only because he's a rookie. You know, and usually it's the rookies that you can pull up in a play like that, but not Scott Thomas. He's over there and knocked out away. The left-hander can't get quite enough on it.
The lefty. So it's 2nd and 10. Another trick play. We've talked about those. Sarkisian out of the shotgun. The pocket's collapsing. He gets out of there, but not in time. Herman Smith, who's been in that backfield all night long.
Coverage sack. That's a coverage sack. Because Steve Sarkisian had time. You know, and he can't do it all. So here he is. He's got the football. He's got lots of time. He's got a throwing lane. Look at that. He's got lanes to throw the football in, but no one is open. And rather than throw an interception, he takes the sack, which is a wise move. But sometimes you get good pressure. Sometimes you get good coverage. You got to work together on defense, and this time it's coverage.
There was a very short period there in the second quarter where the Riders seemed to be moving the ball offensively. Cunningham bobbles another one. You talk about a guy who's really not having his best game. He's been razor sharp for most of the season. There's a look at the sack totals.
Herman Smith gets the sack, but he got some help from his smaller friends that are behind him.
Holding, BC 33, first down.
And Herman Smith gets the sack, but look at the coverage downfield. Pretty good right there. We got double coverage right in there. You got two guys, two black shirts right there. And really, no one open for Steve Sarkisian to throw to. Herman Smith says, thanks, guys. I'll take that. I'll take the sack. You guys just keep covering like that. Give me a couple extra seconds to get home, and I'll pad my stats a little bit.
Yeah, he came in with 5 sacks. Adds to his total there. Mike Moore is down on the field. We'll take a quick injury timeout on Adidas Friday Night Football. You can see in the back of the BC Lions helmets, they are all wearing a checkered flag with the number 99 on it in tribute to Greg Moore, the Maple Ridge native who was killed last weekend down in California. It's been a tough weekend, a week across the country, but it's been particularly tough here in the Vancouver area where Greg was always around and had such a positive impact on so many people. David Benefield was at the memorial service on Wednesday.
Yeah, really tragic accident, and of course all our thoughts are with the Moore family right now. The memorial was yesterday for the public out in Maple Ridge. Over 3,000 people there to pay their last respects. And you know, Dave, you and I both had a chance to meet and talk with Greg Moore many times, and he was just a real great guy, a real person, down-to-earth person. Never forgot where he came from, and it's been a sad week in this area.
Mike Moore is up and off the field, so the Lions are ready to go back to work. Don Blair is on his feet, by the way, as well. 1st and 10 from their own 26. And here's Allen with his receiver spread over the middle. There's Don Blair for our first down. Looks okay to me.
Well, see, this is the key too, because Don Blair got hit in the head, and that's why he went out. He was woozy and wobbly, but this is a play that he had to think to get open. See, sometimes you just have to use your ability. Sometimes you have to think. See, he saw the zone, and then he just settled in the middle of that zone.
The Lions are starting to take what that defense is giving them, and they're taking it all the way down the field. They've been driving the ball well in this second half. Allen looking deep for Cunningham. Almost came up with a great catch, but tight coverage again by number 22, Kelly Malvo.
Well, you know what the Saskatchewan Roughriders are doing differently now than they did in the first half, and that's they're playing more conservatively on defense. In the first half, we saw a ton of halfback blitzes from Shannon Garrett and Kelly Malvo, and they were both coming off the edge. And then we saw Vincent Donaldson involved in a bunch of blitzes that created some turnovers. Now they're playing more zone and dropping off.
2nd and 10. Allen's got Cunningham this time. That is going to be well short of a first down, despite the fact it was a pretty good grab as he went up and got it. Brought down by number 94, Stephen Connolly.
Well, it was a pretty tough catch in traffic. It was just way short of the first down, and Connolly, who usually is rushing the quarterback, will also play a little linebacker just to mix things up, and makes a pretty good tackle in the open field, because that's not an easy guy to tackle in the open field.
1:21 to go in the 3rd quarter. Lou is punting it away to Mayfield. Not much of a return right there. Be sure to stick around after the game for our TSN Turning Point, brought to you by Super 8. Glenn Suter, our crew downstairs, everybody is starting to think about what that will be. The Riders would like a turning point here as momentum has started to swing in favor of the BC Lions. There's a fumble. Who's got it? They are fighting for it down there. Zarka was the ball carrier.
These piles are great. This is a great play in football. The ball's on the ground.
Looks like Saskatchewan retained possession.
There's 10 guys. There's about 2 tons of bodies down there lying on it, and the ref is trying to figure out who's got the football.
I've never been able to figure out how they determine.
It's amazing how they figure it out. They gotta crawl down to the bottom of the pile to see where the ball is.
They're still scrapping for it. 2nd and 4. Little early movement. The flag was down. Herman Smith jumped on the play. I think you're going to see that he was drawn offside.
Yeah, was he drawn or was he offside?
Offside. BC. First down.
So the Riders get a first down out of the deal. Their first down of this half. And with 6 seconds to go, this will be the last play of the 3rd quarter. We got a ball game here. We told you the BC Lions don't do things the easy way. And Saskatchewan has come in here and put up a fight. Here's Sarkisian. Going into the air, looking for Mayfield, and he had it and dropped it. He was inside the coverage, and he dropped it, and he knows it.
Well, 2 guys dropped it. Raphael Ball had a chance at it. He dropped it, and then Mayfield dropped it.
So that does it for the 3rd quarter. It's 17-16. Riders over the Lions on Adidas Friday Night Football. Let's send you back to CFL Control.
You're watching the CFL Live, and we're at the quarter. Brought to you by Toyota Canada and its dealers.
Well, the Lions certainly played with more emotion in that 3rd quarter, but they're very fortunate that this was Saskatchewan, because if they played this way against, say, Hamilton last week with 4 turnovers, it would be 40-16, not 17-16. So they're fortunate in that way, and they are showing a lot of emotion, Chris, but still too many mistakes.
Way too many mistakes, and the big one was Robert Drummond fumbling on the goal line, but still, talk about turning a negative into a positive. We see the play develop. We see Robert Drummond. This is a second effort issue. Here he goes for the extra yardage. There's the fumble. It's returned by Saskatchewan. But look at the genuine response to a personal mistake. He knows he makes that mistake. His focus increased, and now, a few plays later, there goes Robert Drummond around the corner for a touchdown. I like that. This game has to have a nice level of controlled rage, and I saw that in Robert Drummond, and the other players pick up on it, and that's one of the reasons we got a tight game, Matty.
Well, you're right, Chris, and I don't know if it's controlled rage, it's passion, it's heart, it's desire, it's getting after it and loving what you're doing out there, playing a game like it's supposed to be played, and that's what we saw BC do in the 3rd quarter. If they continue that, the game is theirs.
Drummond's face there kind of reminded me of Schulte when he doesn't get enough time to talk at the halftime. Lions' 4th quarter has been their strongest all season long. They've outscored their opponents by 46 points. Saskatchewan has been outscored by 54. Advantage Lions.
Advantage Lions on paper, but we looked at a lot of paper going into this game, Glenn, and it's all been ripped up to this point in the ball game.
Yeah, well, this part here looks like we thought it would be with them dominating it, but those 4 turnovers have really balanced it out, and I think that's what the guys back in Toronto were talking about.
No question. And Saskatchewan's inability to capitalize on those turnovers has obviously hurt them as well. So we begin the 4th quarter. 15 minutes to go for the Riders to either end their season with a much-needed and long-awaited win, or the Lions will take first in the West. Sarkisian over the middle, batted down by Raphael Robinson. He was looking for Don Narcisse. Nice play by the wrecker, number 22.
Well, Don Narcisse is trying to find a hole and see how he's going to try and gear it down. But this ball took so long to get there. Well, and then he sees the hit coming, so he thinks he's got to turn into a defensive back in some ways. But if Steve Sarkisian throws that ball on time down the seam to Curtis Mayfield, he may be still running.
Steve Sarkisian has no interceptions in this ball game so far. However, he has no completions in this half so far. McCallum punts it away. There's Cunningham. Eludes the first tackler, but he's met by a few more. We've just begun the fourth quarter. It's a close one. Don't you go anywhere. Where you're watching Adidas Friday Night Football. Well, we've got 3 ball games for you this weekend. We're in the fourth quarter of this one. Tomorrow, the Calgary Stampeders hope they'll have something to play for. If this keeps up, they will. And then the Edmonton Eskimos need a win to get into the postseason. Glenn Suter, you'll be with John Wells for that one. That'll be a big one at Skydome. But we've got a big one right here. It's been 12 years since the Lions have won the West. And they've got 14 minutes here to get it done. That pass did not get it done.
Well, that, Damon Allen bounced that one. It's a good thing he did for the BC Lions and Greg Mons, or Douglas Kraft has taken that the other way. He ran the pattern that time for Rocky Henry.
Damon Allen has passed the 300-yard mark for passing, but only 16 points on the board to show for it. Second down from his own 24-yard line. Pulls that one down. He's going to run, and he's got a lot of room. Damon Allen over the 45, close to the 50.
Saskatchewan defense went back to what they did in the first half, and this time they got caught. Watch Willie Pless here. The linebackers are coming. See, they're sneaking up to the line of scrimmage, and here comes the blitz, and all Damon Allen needs is one little seam, and there it is. It opens up, he takes off, and there's no one but the secondary back there to stop him.
Gain of 23. The handoff was faked to Drummond. Allen spins away, but doesn't get much further as Neil Smith had him all wrapped up.
Well, I can't emphasize enough the importance of the play that Neil Smith just made. I mean, really. I mean, Neil Smith was in space with Damon Allen.
Yeah. Not a good place to be when you are a rookie in the CFL.
First of all, he didn't buy the play action and go down with Drummond on the play action, and then one-on-one with Damon Allen with lots of field on either side, and he got him down.
But it was a loss of 3 on the play. 2nd and 13 from their own 44 out of the shotgun. Pump fake, goes long down the sidelines. Don Blair's got it to the Saskatchewan 35-yard line.
Well, talk about a matchup that would make a quarterback's eyes just bulge out of his head. He looks up, Damon Allen looks to his left, and when he looks to his right, he sees Don Blair running on Steve Connolly. And he goes, oh, that's where I'm going with the football. No question about that.
Connolly may be an athlete. He was a track star, but you're right. That's a mismatch in pass coverage. 1st and 10 from the Riders 36. Here's the Jets. A little swing pass to Cunningham. He's wrapped up about halfway home to a first down.
Yeah, it's a mismatch. Don Blair, obviously, but in fairness to Steve Connolly, he thinks he's going to get help over top from one of the defensive backs. So Don Blair beats him to the outside. He's one-on-one with the linebacker and putting together a real good night tonight. He makes that catch, but Connolly's looking for some help deep.
Allen rolls out. He's got Rod Harris, who's close to the first down. He's got it.
Rod Harris almost turned around and came back and lost first down yardage. And again, we're seeing Damon Allen, like he did to end the first half, is now in the second half running the hurry-up offense. Rod Harris is limping a little bit and might have to go take a break. Brett Anderson comes in the game.
I said he got the first down. He must be close. They've got to measure it.
Well, he almost lost it. He caught the ball, turned around. He almost lost a couple of yards and would have lost the first down. He got just enough of it.
But Mons will not be satisfied until he sees that thing in the end zone. They've got touchdowns, 1 in the air, 1 along the ground. They need 1 here. Allen to Brett Anderson. And that is Anderson's first reception of the season. Has handled all the kickoff duties.
And something that's happened to this Saskatchewan defense throughout the year is that their defensive line, as the game wears on, because they're smaller.
Major foul, roughing the passer, Saskatchewan 53.
Oh, boy.
First down.
Shea Mirabrook's going to get that late hit, but watch the protection. See, this defensive line in Saskatchewan, it's the fourth quarter now. They're starting to wear down. See, Damon Allen has lots of time to throw the football, and then Mirabrook is the guy who's going to get hit. Watch Brett Anderson break to the out. There's Brett Anderson. Catches that ball in front of Vincent Donaldson.
Just taking what they're given. You add in the late hit, and they're inside the 10 with a 1st and goal to go.
If Damon Allen gets that kind of time, it's going to be a long quarter for Saskatchewan.
Look at the first downs, and you wonder who's leading this ball game. Allen to Drummond. And that's going to go for a big loss.
When your defensive line starts to wear down, what you do is you throw in some linebackers into the mix, and you try to get them to come up and help to get some pressure on it. And you're going to see him step up in the line right here. Willie Pless is going to step up in the gap. He's going to provide some pressure, and the right play called, but Shannon Garrett makes a good tackle in the open field.
A loss of 5 on that play. 2nd down. From the 13-yard line, Allen. Little pump fake, looking for Eddie Brown. Could not get him, but there's a flag on the play. Douglas Kraft.
See, Douglas Kraft had good coverage initially, but what he did is he kept bumping Eddie Brown across the middle.
Major foul. Face mask. Saskatchewan 21. First down.
See, initially, Douglas Kraft, he has the right to his ground as long as he's facing the line of scrimmage. But you see, that was the end of the play, and he was still scrambling and grabbing at Eddie Brown as he went across the middle and really was impeding Eddie Brown's path to the middle of the field. You can't do that, but what you can do is jam him initially, and that's what Kraft did. He just did it for too long.
Well, those couple of plays have kept this drive alive. Otherwise, the Lions are kicking a field goal. But now they still have an opportunity to punch it into the end zone from the 6. First down, Allen. Little pitch to Drummond, looking for the outside. Drummond is met by 2 tacklers, including Todd McMillan and Arkel Trulak.
Well, Arkel Trulak showed a little bit of speed there to the outside. Overall, when you look at Arkel Trulak, and this is probably partly because of the expectations coming into this season, but he hasn't had a great year. I mean, they expected huge things out of Arkel Trulak, and coming into this game, 5 sacks on the season, they wanted a lot more out of him. He was the guy who replaced Bobby Jurison a year ago, but he showed some speed there, and he has the great athletic ability.
The 11th play of this drive. Once again, the Riders defense stepped up. Can they do it one more time? Allen. Into the end zone. Nobody's there. He had just thrown it away into the back of the end zone. So the Riders hold again. Allen had all kinds of pressure to deal with, and there was nobody open to dump it off to.
Pressure's going to come from down here at the bottom of your screen. Damon Allen can't find anyone to the play side. That's the side to his right that he was looking at first. Steve Connolly back there, along with Neil Smith. Getting some pressure on Allen. He just decides to throw it away. We'll kick a field goal right from there.
Well, this is another victory for the Riders defense, who've really played quite well tonight.
They have, and you know who the heart of that defense has been? Willie Pless.
You betcha. This will be a 17-yard chip shot for Lou. However, the last time I said it was automatic was the BC Lions convert. They missed that. And they have to readjust the time clock. They want some time put back on it. 9 minutes to go in the ball game, by the way. As of right now, the Lions still trail by 1.
That's the time. That's the play clock. That's the clock that you have to snap the ball. You have to. That one's in the end zones. The quarterbacks and the holder will check that one to make sure that that doesn't run out. But that wasn't the problem. They have to set the game clock. Put 5 more seconds on the game clock, and Arkel Trulak is making his way off the field. He was a little nicked after running down Robert Drummond on the last play.
You know, Louis Passagle is just 62% on field goals this year. He's been hurt. He's been bothered by an abdominal injury, but 62%. He hasn't had a percentage that low since his rookie season in 1976.
Still, they're not booing him.
No.
They're looing him.
They'll never boo Lou here. Never. And we're still waiting for them to snap that ball. Play clock's winding down, trying to take some time off. It's up, it's in, it's good. So the Lions have clawed all the way back. Maybe not what they wanted, but they've got the lead. It's 19-17. We're a little over 3 weeks away from the Grey Cup, which will be held here in Vancouver. They've sold over 30,000 tickets for the ball game already. If you want to get yours, there are the numbers here in Vancouver and across the country. And of course, Greg Mons wants to play in that ball game. A win today would be a big step towards that. They finally got the lead by 2. Little trick play. The flicker goes to Mayfield, and Mayfield is going across the 50, but there is a flag about 20 yards back.
Well, we've seen Mayfield on a reverse. We've seen him on a reverse pass where he threw the football.
Illegal block. Saskatchewan 51. First down.
John Terry got flagged on that one. Boy, was Greg Mons ever on the money when he said, watch for the trick plays.
You know what? It's actually a pretty good play by Raphael Ball, because just as John Terry goes to hit him, Ball turns his back. That was a tough call on John Terry, because Raphael Ball kind of turned his back at the last second, and really no clipping when that happened.
So they'll do it again. First down over. Sarkisian going into the air. He's got a man wide open at the 50, right near the first down marker before he is gang tackled. And now it's up to Sarkisian to answer here. Their offense has started to sputter.
When you look over the Saskatchewan Roughriders season, you think about where Dan Farthing has been. Just 426 yards and 34 catches this year. And you know that catch he just made in the zone coverage. You know, if I'm Cal Murphy and have Dan Farthing in my offense, every time I see zone and I'm the quarterback, I go to Dan Farthing, because he's going to know where to go.
From their own 51, Sarkisian hands off to Ricky Whittle, and Johnny Scott was there to stop that play before it even began.
You know, one of the things that Johnny Scott uses to motivate himself is he's always wanted to be a quarterback. Watch how he gets up in there. I mean, that's just speed to the point of attack. He just beats the block there, James Monroe, and is in the backfield. But I asked him, I said, you know, what gets you fired up for games? He said, I've always wanted to be a quarterback. I love to go after those pretty boys.
Could you imagine that? 2nd and 15. The crowd getting into it, looking for their defense to stop this drive. Sarkisian nowhere to go. Benefield got him. Smith got him. And that's the end of that.
Well, this is where you get the composure of your quarterback, and this is where Steve Sarkisian needs more time, because as the pocket is collapsing around him, he gets happy feet, and then he takes his eyes off downfield, because if he keeps his eyes on the downfield and the coverage, he could see that Don Narcisse had a step on Eric Carter. When that pocket collapsed, he got happy feet. He stopped looking down the field, and he couldn't see Don Narcisse wide open.
The last time these two teams met here at BC Place, the Lions defense had 5 sacks and 3 interceptions. They've got 6 sacks already tonight with 6:30 to go. Flag on that play on the Cunningham return. We'll sort it out for you when we come back. It's the Lions by 2 on Adidas Friday Night Football. Well, the hockey game across the street is over. The Canucks beat the Florida Panthers 3-2. If you had a ticket to the hockey game, it gets you into this ball game free for the remainder of it. And a couple of people have taken up that offer to come over here and watch what is going to be a pretty good finish with 6.5 to go. The home team finally leading by 2, but Saskatchewan not backing down. They still want to end this season with a win to get Cal Murphy his 100th career win and to snap an 8-game losing streak. And as you talked about, Glenn, head into the offseason with a little bit better feeling about themselves.
Yeah, it makes for a long 6 months if you lose your last game.
Allen with a first down from his own 20. Keeps and is dropped after about a 2-yard gain. If you're just tuning in, joining us after the hockey game as well, with your remote control going back and forth, here's what you've missed.
Well, the Riders got off to a great start, 17 points to start the game. The Lions bounced back. They had the 4 turnovers, but they did come back, 19 unanswered points. It started with a big drive to end the first half. Damon Allen's put up a lot of numbers. The turnovers have evened out the score. But they have the football, a chance to add to that score.
2nd and 7. Allen's going to keep again, and he's got all kinds of room. Todd McMillan finally steps up to meet him, but not before he gets another first down. Well, Damon Allen can't put up the numbers, huh? Well, I'll tell you, only 19 points again. But all season long, the Lions haven't really had a huge problem moving the ball. It's been actually capitalizing and scoring, but he's rolled up some large numbers both through the air and along the ground tonight.
Yeah, and the turnovers, 2 by Jimmy the Jet Cunningham, 1 by Robert Drummond on a fumble, just 1 interception from Damon Allen.
There's Rocky Henry. Zigging and zagging, and I think he got himself a first down. Now, just shy of it, but I tell you, he got about 4 more yards out of that than I thought he was going to.
Well, he brings some enthusiasm, and he brings a second effort, and he brought some yak yards on this play, and yak yards are yards after the catch. Caught a little 1-yard hitch and turned it into 9 in a hurry, well, 8 and a bit.
Second and short, the handoff goes to Drummond. He's got the first down, and he is punishing some Saskatchewan defenders trying to make the tackle.
So why Damon Allen? We talk about 4,000 yards on the season. He's over that now. And why do none of his receivers have 1,000 yards this year? Because he distributes the football to all of them. And this is this game tonight. Rocky Henry, he's having the big night. Don Blair's involved. Every one of the receivers have caught passes. Robert Drummond's got 6 catches. I mean, that's what he does. He gets all the talent, the football.
That time, there's a bit of a loss there as Michael Lawson got into the backfield and brought Allen down.
Well, Lawson made the play. I believe it was Neil Smith who jumps up and keeps contained on Damon Allen, because if he gets the corner, I mean, this is Lawson right here, and watch Smith as well. You see how they work in tandem. Watch Smith come upfield. That makes Allen turn inside, and Lawson is there to help. It's called team defense.
Yeah, you talked about the depth in the receiving corps. We both talked about it before this game. Remember, Alfred Jackson still on the sidelines. May stay there the way Rocky Henry's play. That pass, is that a loose ball? Yes, it is. Vincent Donaldson's got it.
Damon Allen's going to argue that he was in the throwing motion, but I think the ball came out when it was behind him. Before his arm moved forward, that ball flipped out of his hands. It came out on the way back. At least that's what the officials believe, and that's why they're calling it a fumble. We'll take another look at it. You be the judge. If the ball's going back, his hand is going back. See, he lost the football before the hand started coming forward. See how it goes down here low. The ball
lost the handle on it.
He lost the handle.
Boy, here we are talking about what a great night he's having, and now that's a costly mistake. The Riders have it in BC territory with 3:18 on the clock, down by 2. Sarkisian needs to make something happen now. Flushed out of the pocket, looking for the sidelines. He gets there. Barely back to the line of scrimmage, if that. So here's a tester. We've been talking about testers for this guy all season long, but here's a tester for him to pull this one out of the fire.
Well, this is going to be a good opportunity for whomever's coaching next year to take a look at Steve Sarkisian under pressure. I mean, this is where you win and lose football games. Last 3 minutes of the ball game, you have a chance with the football in your hands.
5 turnovers by the Lions. 2nd and 11. Sarkisian keeps it on the ground to Ricky Whittle. That play's going nowhere. Raphael Robinson stuffs it. And the Lions dodged the bullet again. Somehow, some way, they're hanging on to that 2-point lead on Adidas Friday Night Football. This one's coming to a close, but we got 2 more for you on Saturday. The Calgary Stampeders, who could still be playing for first in the West in Hamilton, and then the Edmonton Eskimos will be at Skydome in Toronto looking for a playoff spot with a win against the Argos. You'll be there catching the red eye right after this one going to Toronto.
Try and catch the red eye, and I just want to say, good job, Rook.
Yeah, that's the end of line for me.
This is your
And believe me,
last
they
game.
have treated me like a rookie every step of the way this season. Believe it, baby.
Oh, you've done a nice job.
Thank you. Okay, let's go. Let's see what happens here as McCallum is going to punt this ball away. And out of bounds. No return by the Jet. Cal Murphy, I bet if you would have asked him yesterday, this is the one question I didn't ask him. I should have asked him, Cal, if you would get the BC Lions to cough up the ball 5 times, do you think you'd have a chance?
Yeah, but the problem is he's only got 7 points off.
No kidding.
And that's what you want to do when you get the turnover. You want to get some more points. And, you know, Greg Mons can consider himself lucky that Saskatchewan only has 7 points off 5 turnovers, because it could be a lot worse. He knows it.
But a lot of credit goes to the Riders who've come in here tonight. We were talking about it before the game, you and I, on the way here. Let's just hope they compete. It's been a long season. They've competed. Allen from deep inside his own territory. Robert Drummond tried to pick up a few yards, and he certainly did that.
Saskatchewan has played a great game defensively. I think they've really created some turnovers. They've been very physical. But, you know, I have to go back to a couple of plays back there on 2nd and 13. And Cal Murphy decides to go with the draw. And when you're a team that really has nothing to lose,
yeah,
I'm not sure why you call a draw on 2nd and 13.
That was a strange call, no question about it. 2:08 to go. 2nd and 7. Allen. Jimmy the Jet couldn't reel that one in, so the Lions will have to kick it away again. And don't go away. With 2:01 on the clock, Saskatchewan's going to get another shot. In fact, I'm starting to think they're going to get more than one shot.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's lots of football left. And
lots of time.
Again, the BC Lions defense will be the group that is going to have to win it and try and seal first place if they want a chance at that right now.
You know, looking at Cal Murphy, he would not talk about his future yesterday. He would just not answer any questions about it, whether or not he will be back in a coaching capacity or otherwise with the Riders next season. Didn't want to talk about it, just wanted to focus on this game. And right now, Reggie Jones is going to focus on making something happen, and so far he is. Nice return to near the Lions' 35-yard line. A 19-yard return coming up at the top of the clock. Make sure you join my buddy Darren Detishin and Farhan Lalji for Sports Desk. All the scores, all the highlights from the NHL. We'll preview the 2 big games tomorrow. The Raptors were in action against New Jersey.
Yeah, I also want to see how Tiger Woods was chipping one off the pavement there.
Yeah.
What tournament was that? What happened there?
Well, they're in Valderrama.
Okay.
In Spain, playing the World Championships. But you're right, that's usually where you and I are on the cart path. I usually kick it onto the grass. Here we go. 1st and 10 from the 36-yard line. Sarkisian again goes to Ricky Whittle. And remember here, the Riders came into this ball game without Mike Saunders, a 1,000-yard rusher, without Eric Gulliford, a veteran possession receiver, without Sean Daniels, an experienced fullback, and of course without Slack. But you got to give Sarkisian credit here. He hasn't done a bad job.
Yeah, that's what you're missing, total offense, when you take Mike Saunders out of the lineup. But they really are doing all right now. Now's the time in 2nd and 7 is where you call the draw play or a running play, because you're in field goal range already.
Crowd's into it. And that play went nowhere.
Yeah.
He faked the handoff to the back and then pitched it to Jones, and the Lions read it like a book.
See, Greg Mons wants a timeout because he knows that he's going to consider right now, think of the worst. And Paul McCallum's going to make the field goal. Now, this is another play that I don't know that I call a play that's a reverse, where your guy's going to lose 5-6 yards and maybe make it that much longer a field goal. Now, as it turned out, he only lost a couple. Mons calls the timeout. He's going to assume that McCallum makes this field goal and makes it a 1-point lead for Saskatchewan. He wants to keep as much time left when he gets the football, get Damon Allen in the hurry up.
Paul McCallum has had a pretty darn good season kicking field goals.
Oh, yeah.
Came in 21 of 24, almost 88%. He hasn't had the same amount of opportunities as other kickers around the league because the Riders just haven't been in that position. What's he saying there?
Well, you see, the defense is yelling at the kicker right now. They're saying, hey, choke artist, you're going to choke on this one. McCallum's saying, you watch me, I don't choke.
From 44 yards away, he's hit from 58 this year. It's up, and it's no good. They're going to give the single point, but they needed 2 at least. So Paul McCallum was hoping to come home to Vancouver and drive a stake through the heart of his old team, the BC Lions. And he wants that one back.
We talked about it, Dave. The game inside the game, and here is some of the little things that can sometimes affect the play. Here's the hold by Steve Sarkisian. Ball goes down, and it looks like a clean hold. And that ball just sails a little bit wide.
Oh, boy.
And the BC defense, we're talking to Paul McCallum, who's a veteran. He decided to talk back to them. He can't believe that he missed that one by a couple of inches. And Paul McCallum's a veteran, and I can't believe that the talking would affect him. But obviously it did enough to make him miss on that one.
And I'll tell you what, as Damon Allen hands off to Robert Drummond, they'll probably just keep this right along the ground for the remaining 103. I'll tell you what, there are some Calgary Stampeders, players and coaches in their hotel rooms in Hamilton whose hearts sank a little bit as that one missed, because of course with a win tonight.
Yeah, Paul McCallum is their least favorite player right now.
Yeah, with a win tonight by the BC Lions, the Stamps have no shot at first place. They were hoping to be playing for that tomorrow in Hamilton. 7 of the last 9 years the Stamps have taken first in this division. The Lions haven't won it since 1987. They're 46 seconds away from that now. 2nd and 6. The play is flagged down. Procedure call on somebody. And while I got a moment here, Glenn.
Yeah.
A little quick hello to another guy who's probably back in Hamilton watching this ball game, and that's the owner, David Braley, who's had kind of a tough year. He's been we'll sort this call out for a moment here, but David Braley has he's had a tough go lately. He's been in and out of the hospital. He likes to attend home games. Wasn't able to make this one. I'm sure he would have loved to have been here. He's been a great owner of this team. Came in when it looked pretty dark.
Yeah.
After Nelson Scalvini.
Illegal procedure. BC 68. Please reset the clock to 44 seconds. 44 seconds.
He came in and said, you know what, I'm going to buy this team, but I want to see 12,500 season ticket sales first. He got that, and just like every other CFL owner, he takes a hit in the pocket, but he's 42 seconds away from being rewarded right now.
And he also
make that 44. Sorry, they added a couple seconds.
Yeah, and he also signed a big check to get the Grey Cup here.
That's right.
And that's his baby. And it's nice to see that there's 30,000 tickets sold already. And if BC ends up winning this game, I would think that they'll sell a few more.
They're already over 30,000. Allen rolling to his left, just adding to those rushing totals. And I'm sure at this point, the coaching staff of the Lions are just hoping he keeps getting up after those plays.
Well, the thing is, I don't think he got the first down.
Yeah,
he's going to give Steve Sarkisian another crack of the football with, by the time they get it back, probably around 30 seconds left. Saskatchewan will call the timeout. That's their timeout for this half. So now it's up to Steve Sarkisian to manage the clock. He's going to have about 30 seconds, which is probably going to translate, if he's smart about it, into 8 to 10 plays. I mean, and that's being pretty liberal. I mean, you got to be pretty good at managing the clock to get 8 to 10 plays out. One of those plays, depending on where he gets the football on this return, is going to have to be 20 to 30-yard play. So now, right now, he's talking to Cal Murphy, and he's saying, okay, we've got to call 2 in the huddle to start with. Try to get that hurry up, get him on the line of scrimmage in a hurry.
Lou gets the punt away, and it's a good one. Mayfield inside his own 20. Gets close to the 30. A good punt by Louis Passaglia. And here's a spot where I would think this has got to be fun for him, you know? You're right, nothing to lose. You got the game on the line with 26 seconds to go. This is fun for Sarkisian. There's no pressure here.
Well, right now, he needs to get 4 first downs. He's 40 yards away from field goal position. He's got 26 seconds left. He's going to get maybe 7, maybe 6 plays off.
What do the Lions do defensively? Pressure him?
Now you go after him.
1st and 10 from their own 28. Here we go. Lots of time, and Whittle can't reel that one in. He had nobody deep. He had Whittle on the dump-off route, and Ricky Whittle could not squeeze it.
To answer your question, here's what the BC Lions did do defensively. They sent 3 on the rush. So they decided to send 3 on the rush, drop everybody else back in cover. So you got 9 guys covering 4 back there, 3 guys rushing the quarterback. That'll be Johnny Scott up front with David Benefield and Herman Smith. So they're deciding to play conservative, drop everybody into covers.
19 seconds to go, 2nd and 10. Sarkisian again with time, eludes the rush, puts it up, and he has, did he catch it? Yes, he did.
Oh,
yes, he did. 10 seconds on the clock. Curtis Mayfield.
Mayfield was wide open downfield. It was Don Narcisse who got the first down. Look at Mayfield. He had a touchdown if Sarkisian sees him. I mean, Mayfield was in behind everybody. Sarkisian went to Don Narcisse. They did get the first down to keep the hope alive. They got maybe 1 play before they have to line up in field goal position, and they need, I would say, about 18 to 20 yards.
It's set at 9 seconds on the clock. The PA announcers trying to rev up the crowd, and here they go.
The BC defense is going to want to hold up whoever catches this football, see if they can kill the clock.
Let's see what they do. Sarkisian puts it into the air for the sidelines. Don Narcisse gets there. Barely to midfield. 3 seconds to go, and I think they're out of time, Glenn.
Well, I don't think they can get a playoff here. They're going to have to put the field goal unit on and see if they can kick. Well, there's one other choice they can make. They can go for a punt, try kick it for the single. But when you line up for a punt, you're 15 yards away from the football. When you line up for a field goal, you're only 7. Right now, it would be
a huge, huge kick.
You're talking about, with no wind involved, obviously, in the dome, over 60 yards.
Over 60 yards.
63 yards, and they're lining up for a 63-yard field goal.
63-yarders. Paul McCallum has hit from 58. Well, let's see what you got. And it's not going to be there. The BC Lions are Western Division champions.
It wasn't pretty, but Greg Mons has got this team in first place. They have a bye. They will host the Western Final for the first time since 1987. And you know what? They need the 2 weeks. They got some work to do.
They did it the hard way, just like they've done everything this season, but they have done it. They are 13-5. They finish on top. Kind of a thriller on Adidas Friday Night Football. Well, here's the TSN Turning Point, brought to you by Super 8, Glenn.
It was the drive by the BC Lions late in the first half. Starts out with a big catch by Rocky Henry over the middle. Then they go to Rod Harris to the outside. He breaks a tackle, goes down the sideline. Don Blair will cap off the drive in the back of the end zone with this touchdown catch. The BC Lions got on the board at the end of the half and put up 19 points. It was enough by 1.
And they'll be back here for the Western Final November 21st. The TSN Turning Point brought to you by Super 8. Life's great at Super 8.
Adidas Friday Night Football is brought to you by Adidas. Long live sport. Castrol GTX, drive hard. And by Molson Canadian.
We are back in about 13 hours for doubleheader Saturday to wrap up our regular season coverage. The Stamps and Hamilton, and then the Eskimos and the Argonauts. Don't forget Sports Desk with Dutch and Farhan coming up in a half an hour. Up next is Motoring 2000. By a whisker, the Lions win the West. This has been a presentation of TSN, Canada's most watched sports network.